drugs.
But why did this teen keep it a secret for so long?
She asked us if we wanted some alcohol.
She offered you drugs before?
Yes. She pulled out a bag of ecstasy out of her bra.
She offered you drugs, and you didn't tell your father about it.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 19-year-old Jacqueline Adams is suing her former landlord, Richard Nordquist, for the return of rent and security deposit, stolen money, and an unlawful eviction.
Order. All rise. This is case number 153 on the calendar in the matter of Adams versus Nordquist.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Adams, you rented a room from Mr. Nordquist in his home.
Yes.
When did you rent the room?
March.
March what?
8th, I believe.
When did you move in?
March 10th.
And what was your rent?
$550.
And how much money did you give him?
I gave him $950.
$950.
$400 deposit.
So far, is that correct?
Correct.
Was the $550 for March?
Yes.
Did you live there in April?
Yes.
And did you pay? So far, correct.
Correct.
And in May?
Yes.
Paid him his rent?
Yes.
Something happened in June. Want to tell me what happened?
I was going to move out because he was selling the house to a family or whatever. So I was going to move out.
When were you selling the house?
I decided I wanted to try to sell my house early June.
And when did you tell Miss Adams?
I told her that about the time she put her notice in that I was thinking about selling my home.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So I decided, because I was going to live there through summer, but then I said no because he was going to raise it to $700. And I'm a college student, so I can't really afford that. And then that's when I told him. And then we agreed that I could move out the next time that I paid my rent, which would be July 10th. But before I went to the Bahamas in June, we decided that I'd just move out July 1st because I was okay with that. And I was already looking on Craigslist for another home. I get back from the Bahamas.
On what date?
The 12th. Or 13th. I got back the 12th, the night of the 12th, but it was the 13th.
But you had paid June's rent?
No, not yet.
Okay, you got back on June 13th.
Yes, and then that day I went and cashed my check and paid rent and everything else.
So you paid June's rent?
Yes, but it was $367 instead of $550.
Why?
Because I was moving out July 1st, not...
And you had moved in on...
Yes.
And he agreed with that?
Yeah.
And he accepted the rent?
Yes.
Accepted the money that you gave him?
Yes.
Did you accept the money that she gave you in June?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 2 days later, after that, he asked if I was going to be home, and I was like, probably not, because I was planning on staying at my friend Bree's house. But then I was like, no, I'm just going to go home, because something told me, like, I needed to go home. And then after that, he woke me up the next day, and he told me I had 24 hours to get out of the house.
On what date?
The 17th.
Did you move out?
I grabbed a bag full of clothes, and I told him, okay. He said I could finish packing my room, and that's what I did.
Okay. So now what you're suing him for is the return of your $400, your security deposit, the rent that you paid him for the latter part of June, and for unlawful eviction.
Yes.
Because he evicted you during the time you had already paid rent, and you were scheduled to move out in July.
Yes.
Okay. Ball's in your court. I absolutely believe her when she said that you told her she had to move out.
That's not what occurred.
Because I'm looking at your answer and your counterclaim. So what happened on June 15th?
June 15th? Well, I would like to go prior to June 3rd of what happened led to her moving out early.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was in Santa Cruz with my girlfriend and my other daughter and her mom.
Who was this?
Paige Nordquist. And
How old are
Haley.
you?
15.
And
Okay.
she said, can I go to the house to swim? Jackie will be there. I go, only if Mom's okay with it. And if Jackie's there, because she seemed responsible. And so I said, it's okay. That night, June 3rd, Jackie solicited my child to adults for sex. She asked her for drugs, Norco.
Well, you weren't there, so you don't know that at all. So that's...
No, but they were there.
They can tell me
Okay.
what they want to tell me, but
Okay.
you can't tell me.
All right.
Who's going to speak? Okay. Your first name is?
Paige.
Paige. You went to your father's house on what day?
June 3rd.
Who did you go there with?
Haley Anderson. My mom dropped me off.
Anybody else show up at the house?
No.
Just the two of you?
Yeah.
And what about the plaintiff? Was she there?
Yes.
Anybody else other than the plaintiff?
No.
Okay, so it's the two of you and the plaintiff. You're a college student?
Yes.
How old are you?
19.
Okay, so she's there, you're there, and?
She came home under
Look
the
here.
influence. Sorry. She came home under the influence.
Of what?
Drunk. She asked us if we wanted
Just
some
a second.
alcohol.
She came home under the influence of drugs. How did you know that?
She has offered me drugs before.
No. So she offered you drugs before?
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
What day it was, but she pulled out a bag of ecstasy out of her bra.
So this was before June 3rd?
Yes, but
Before
I
you-
never...
Just before June 3rd, before you asked your father if you could go to the house with a friend, and before your father said to you, yes, you can go there if Jackie is there, because she seemed responsible. So that was before that time that she offered you drugs, and you didn't tell your father about it.
Because I was scared of her.
Whatever your reason, you didn't tell your father about it, so that you knew that Jackie was going to be there,
Yes.
and that your father felt that she was the responsible one,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So now you're there on June 3rd, and
She came home and asked us if we wanted some alcohol. She said she was getting a bottle that night. We were all at the kitchen table.
okay, and what? Just a second. And what did you say?
I said no.
You said no. And what did your friend say?
No.
No. So why didn't you call your mother and have her come pick you up? It's just curious.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I just didn't think to do that, really.
Why not? I mean, you're 15 years old. How old are you?
16.
16. You tell me that somebody has offered you illegal drugs before. Despite that fact, and despite that you didn't want to tell that to your father, Jackie would be there with your friend. Right? And before you went to the house with your friend, did you tell your friend about the prior encounter with Jackie?
Yes.
And she went too. And I assume she didn't tell her mother. You live with your mother?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes
I did,
is the answer.
Yes, and I did tell my mom.
And your mother let you go anyway?
Well, I was at her.
You mean you... Stand up. Is what you're telling me, you told your mother that your friend told you that they were going to an unsupervised house with someone who had offered her drugs before, and your mother said, fine, have a nice swim. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I was at her house. I didn't let my mom know that we were going. We thought we were just going to go over there and go swim for the day, and we didn't. And we just ended up staying the night.
Sit. Sit. Okay, on what date did your daughter allegedly tell you about these events?
She told me, because she was with her mom for another week, I would say approximately June 15th, 16th. And then after...
No. June 3rd to June 15th
Right.
is more than a week.
Well, she was with her mom, because I was in the Santa Cruz until the 5th.
Because you didn't speak to your daughter?
She was with her mom on vacation at her mom's house for a week, because her mom's allowed 2 weeks of summer.
Just a second. I just asked you a question. You and her mother live in relatively the same area?
Yeah.
Yes. Are you telling me you came home from Santa Cruz and didn't speak to your daughter for 10 days?
No, we spoke. She just said she had something to talk to me, and I said, okay, do you want to do it in person or on the phone?
Oh, get over it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your counterclaim says there was a lot of emotional distress based on the fact that your 15-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old friend were offered drugs and alcohol by some old person.
Older.
Her friend is older than she is. Would you call her an older person if she
No.
offered her alcohol?
And later today,
So she kept it in regular service.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she gave you all these things.
Yes, but maybe she forgot to take it away when she turned over the documents.
Nah. Why would she do that? If she was trying to scam you, sir, she wouldn't forget.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jacqueline Adams says former landlord Richard Nordquist owes for the return of rent and security deposit, stolen money, and an unlawful eviction. Richard is countersuing for
back, which is $400. You owe her rent back, which is another $400. Where did you go when you left?
I went and I stayed at my friend's house.
And where are you staying now?
I'm not really. I'm, like, homeless. Like, I can't live with my father because I'm a foster youth, so I get AB 12. So I'm, like, legit homeless. So throughout the night, I'm up walking around. Throughout daytime, I'm finding somewhere to sleep.
Well, how do you support yourself?
I don't, unless every month when I get my AB 12, that's when I pay all my bills.
What's AB 12?
I'm a foster youth. I aged out of foster care. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm awarding you your $400 security deposit back, $400, which is a round number, for the rent that you took from her for the month of June, and another $400 for illegal eviction. That's $1,200. You have a counterclaim, which is nonsense. Your counterclaim says that there was a lot of emotional distress based on the fact that your 15-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old friend were offered drugs and alcohol by some old person.
Older.
Well, her friend is older than she is. Would you call her an older person if she offered her alcohol?
She's an adult and they're minors.
Yeah, okay. Counterclaim's dismissed. We're done. You believe her? Perfect.
Okay.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm happy that she did, see that I was telling the truth.
She was going to move, and so there was no eviction.
I don't drink, or do drugs. So it's just okay, yeah, definitely.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Concepcion versus McMurdoch Dixon. Step forward.
Joselito Concepcion is suing Carmen McMurdoch and her daughter Dana Dixon for defrauding him when they traded cars.
Mr. Concepcion, you traded a car with the defendants. You traded an Acura for their SUV.
Yes, Your Honor.
Before you made that trade, you didn't know each other. You had seen their SUV parked with a sign for sale. You wanted a different car. They were about the same price, so you bartered at $4,500. And that was on what date, sir?
March 1st this year.
And when you traded the cars, Miss McMurdoch gave you all the paperwork for the car, the history of the mechanical history, when it was serviced, etc., was with the car. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you purchased the car, you looked at the odometer, and according to your complaint, the odometer showed about 85,000 miles.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you saw a piece of paper that came with all the paperwork that Miss McMurdoch gave you that said earlier, a year earlier, the car had 94,000 miles.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you want your money back or your car back because you say that...
Them.
No, they didn't. First of all, I would like to see the paperwork that you're referring to, that they gave you.
Yes.
You didn't find this on your own.
Yes.
They gave it to you.
Yes.
Good.
That's the one.
Yes.
Bird, I'm probably looking right at it, where it says what the mileage is on the car.
The yellow highlight.
Oh, right there, 94,020.
That paper.
Okay, so this is license and mileage. It says 94020, and that was last July.
Yes, Your
Right,
Honor.
and you had taken the car in for servicing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when did you purchase the car?
September 2012.
And you maintained it from 2012 until you sold it 4 years later. Now I'd like to see all the paperwork you had on the car.
These are our contract. This is the...
Fine. I see everything that you're telling me. So this is Sears, and when she got the car, it said 9 regular service.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she gave you all these things.
Yes, maybe she forgot to take it away when she turned over the documents.
No. Why would she do that? If she was trying to scam you, sir, she wouldn't forget. If she was trying to scam you, she would take away any evidence.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Looked like you altered the odometer on your SUV you traded to me. She said, no.
She's denying that she tampered with the odometer.
Or somebody could have done it for her.
Mr. Concepcion, maybe you tampered with the odometer.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Joselito Concepcion says Carmen McMurdoch and daughter Dana Dixon rolled back the odometer on a car they traded him.
Okay, you think that these two ladies turned back an odometer and then gave you paperwork for every 6 months and year of tire rotation and everything else, which says what the exact mileage is?
The reason I bought the car was the odometer when it was only 84,000. For the age of the car, 1986, wow.
Well, it was closer to 85,000 miles, sir, than it was to 84,000 miles. And you have something that she gave you that says there were 94,000 miles you were buying, right? So the question is, she bought the car with a certain number of miles on the car. Who turned back an odometer?
There was no odometer turning back. Maybe because it's an old car, it's like almost 30 years old. So the little glass that covers the mileage thing is kind of like, I would say, a little foggy. So maybe the mechanic read it wrong, or
no, it says 85,413 miles. So you put on, Mr. Concepcion, according to you, 1,000 miles on the car from the day you bought it.
Yes.
So now I'd like you to tell me when you looked at the paperwork.
After 3 weeks of when I bought the car.
Just a sec. So 3 weeks after you bought the car.
I was only able to review the documents she turned me over.
So once you saw that there was a discrepancy in the miles, why didn't you stop driving it?
I stopped driving it.
No, you didn't. You put on 1,000 miles on the car.
When I found
according to the odometer, the picture that you just gave me, and the bill of sale that you had, from the day you purchased it, you put on over 1,000 miles on the car. And I'm asking you, if you saw these things within a few weeks and you looked through the paperwork...
I drove it to Alpine, I drove it to a Sequan just to test drive it for after maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then when I found out what she did on the car, because I was trying to do the upgrades on the car, then when I look at the records, wait, why is it like 94,000 in here?
Just a second. I got that. I asked you, why did you keep driving the car and put another 1,000 miles on it?
No, after putting driving for like over less than 1,000 miles, I stopped driving it. I stopped driving it, and I called her, Mrs. Carmen. Looks like you altered the odometer on the SUV you traded to me. She said, no, I got evidence that you told me. It is not only 1 or 2 pieces of receipts that
all that she gave you.
Yeah.
She gave you everything at the time of the sale.
But she's denying that she didn't tamper it. How come?
Just a second. She's denying that she tampered with the odometer.
Or somebody could have done it for her.
Just a second.
Somebody who's knowledgeable on doing that.
Mr. Concepcion, maybe you tampered with the odometer.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Mr. Concepcion, maybe you...
don't want to be jailed. That's illegal. That's illegal. That's why I'm here.
Just a second. What do you do for a living?
I'm a server.
A server. What do you do?
I'm a waitress as well.
Okay. Either one of you have any mechanical training?
No.
No, this car always went to a shop or a mechanic.
These people did not turn back the odometer. They gave you all the paperwork that they had. If you didn't want the car, you should have looked at the paperwork and brought it back. Instead, you drove it for 1,000 miles, Mr. Concepcion. Let me ask you a question. Is the car running now?
Yeah, it's running. It's parked in our street.
So you're driving it?
No, it's just right on. I don't have I live in an apartment, so I only got allowed to 1 car in our apartment complex. So it's got to be parked outside. But
That's
since
fine.
then...
What I'm saying to you is, if it's parked on the street, you have to move it so that you are driving it.
Yeah, drive it from like 5 floors away.
Yeah. Mr. Concepcion, I am unimpressed. You bought a 30-year-old car. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That's the dress that he made for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
This bride was bursting at the seams.
I kept telling him I need to spend it because I'm a heavy-set person. When I looked at it, I'm like, it don't even have a shape to fit me.
She let you know that the dress had to have a little give to it.
Yes.
I just have to see.
And after closer examination, this dressmaker still won't give an inch. Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Waddell Newman is suing dressmaker Corey McKinney for the return of money he paid for a wedding dress and punitive damages.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, case number 180 on the calendar in the matter of Newman versus McKinney.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Newman, you want your money back from the defendant who made a wedding dress for your wife. And the crux of your complaint is that not only it wasn't exactly what you wanted or what your wife wanted, but that it was so poorly made that it didn't fit her. It wasn't a custom-made dress.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Not only do you want your money back, you want a whole bunch of other nonsense, which you're not going to get. You want aggravation and stress and the cost of the new dress because you didn't use the dress that the defendant made. So we're going to restrict your claim to what you paid the defendant.
Okay.
Now, how did you find the defendant?
Well, Your Honor, myself and my wife, Felicia here, we got married July 30th of this past year, and we had been searching around, really liked. So friends of ours had instructed us about Mr. McKinney's shop.
Had recommended him.
Had recommended him to us.
People who you believed had used him to make wedding dresses before?
Well, not necessarily wedding dresses. It's just that he was more or less a seamstress and black proprietor in our area of South Bend. So I said, well, let's just give him a try. It can't hurt to try, to go over there and see what he can do for us.
So when you went in to see him, you went in to see him on what date?
Well, we first went in there, it was about the week before Father's Day, so I'd say about the 11th of June that we actually went in there to see him.
Okay, so you were giving him 6 weeks to make a dress?
Yes.
And did you bring him photographs of the dress that you liked?
No, well, she already had an idea of what she wanted.
An idea is very hard to read.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you either bring him a photograph, you look up on the internet the dress that you like, or you have him make a sketch of the dress.
And that's what he did. He
made a sketch.
He had the internet, and he had different styles that he was showing her at the time.
Okay, so now the next thing I want you to do is to show me the styles that your then fiance selected. I need to see the styles that your fiance selected. Do you have them?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at them. You don't mind him showing them to me, do you?
No.
So you printed those styles, and from these styles, she selected something.
Yes. So,
okay. Would you stand up, please?
So that first picture is
Shh, don't tell me. I assume this is what you made.
Yes, that's what we made.
And these are the photographs that you showed her.
Yes, that's the top
Do you see these photographs?
Yes.
You saw this photograph before?
Yes.
Okay, one that you selected with some alterations.
Yes.
And you saw this photograph. That's the bottom.
Okay, yes.
Right, so you saw that photograph. Now this one is different because this one has a little sleeve. Did you want a little sleeve?
Yes.
Okay, so you wanted a little sleeve. That has no sleeve. You wanted a little sleeve. That sleeve doesn't come down about as much as this does. I don't know whether you discussed that. Okay, and then this is a photograph of the back.
Yes.
That you looked at. And that's the dress that he made for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And this is the back of the dress that he made for you.
Yes.
Okay. So at some point in July, he calls you and tells you that the dress is ready to come in for a fitting, right?
Yes, he did.
And that was about July 18th or 19th.
Yes, but he told me to give him 2 weeks, the dress would be ready.
Just a second. You went in July 18th, or had the dress gotten?
Like that.
Just like this?
Yes.
Okay. And you tried it on?
Yes.
And tell me what happened when you tried it on.
Okay, but when I first looked at it, I didn't like it because I had asked him that I wanted the spandex material. He told me that it was going to be that, but when we looked at it, he said he had to get on whoever made it, because I kept telling him I needed spandex because I'm a heavy-set person, and I know ordering it through the mail, it'll be a problem trying to get it ready for my wedding. So when he told me that, I'm like, okay, I'll come in and look at it. And when I looked at it, I'm like, it don't even have a shape to fit me. So he said the seamstress will help, fix it for me.
Okay, so what you wanted was you wanted a spandex material. Now, had she told you she wanted a spandex material?
Well, she said she wanted a stretchy material.
Stretchy material.
Yes. And I have papers here from the people that made it, and it is describing...
I'd like to see it.
Yes.
So she said she wanted a stretchy material. I gathered that from both your complaint and your answer, that she let you know that the dress had to have a little give to it.
Yes.
Yes.
In that paperwork, it shows you the second one. It's got stretchy material in it.
Now, excuse me, Your Honor.
Just a second. I just have to see. Well, the outside can't be stretchy because the outside is lace, so that's clear. So the underside has to have a little bit of a stretch to it.
Now, at the same time, Your Honor...
Don't talk to me while I'm moving.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't...
Not the outside of the dress, probably the inside.
No, I understand. Okay. Mr. McKinney, that's not stretch satin. I'm telling you, the inside of that dress is not the kind of material that has give to it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't care what this note says from whomever, which is really...
So around the hips?
Isn't it the same satin all over? I went underneath the dress to the lining.
Probably the hips area is where.
What do you mean, probably the hip area?
Underneath would be the stretchy material, not the top part of the bust. You need stretchy to be here, around the waist.
Oh, so what I'm asking you is, did you use one fabric or two different fabrics to make the lining of the dress?
Well, my job first is to just take the measurements.
No. You're going to answer my question. What? I assumed, having had these things done myself, that you use one fabric to make the underside of the dress. And is what you're suggesting to me that you use two different fabrics?
Two different fabrics.
Okay, I'm going to go back.
The stretchy needs to be hip area.
So you used a different fabric because clearly, this is not stretch at all. So what you're suggesting is under here, you want to come over here, sir? You could turn this thing around, you can do whatever you want to show me that the bottom part is stretch.
I'm not sure how they get it up here. Oh, here it is. So here,
Hold on. No way. Now, you know that's not stretch material, sir. I know what a spandex material, what a stretch material is. That's not a stretch material. You can go like this, but that's not a material that has give to it. Okay, but you made the dress, and there was a lot of effort that went into making this dress, but it didn't fit you.
Right.
And Mr. McKinney acknowledged that it didn't fit you when you came in, so he said his seamstress would come in to fit it again, which is usually what you do when you make bridal dresses. You go back sometimes for 4 fittings before it gets right. So you went back again.
A week before the wedding.
Okay,
and when I went in there, she looked at it, she said the dress was not, but when she tried to do it, she tried to take it out. It even got tighter when I tried it back on again.
Just a second. So it didn't fit.
Right.
Well, when you went in there on the 18th or 19th, which seamstress came out and fitted you?
He didn't have one then.
Well, did he pin it? Did somebody pin it?
Yes,
he did.
Yes.
So he did the pinning.
Yes.
Of where you wanted it
to fit across here.
How was it?
It was too tight. I couldn't even sit down in it. That's why they had to take it out on the side.
Okay, so he had to release a little bit.
Yes.
And he put in some things to release it.
No, she
some
just
pins.
took it out. Yes, the pins.
Pins to show the
Yes.
seamstress where it had to be released around your hips. Was that done when you came back a week before? Had it been released around your hips?
3 days before the wedding, yes.
It had been released. So you could sit down?
I couldn't sit down.
Could or could not?
Couldn't.
Could not?
Right, could not.
Even a week before?
Yes.
After she had let it out?
Yes.
Okay. And how was the top?
The top wouldn't even fit me. It's like the bra right here. It's too close in and I'm wide-chested. So they had to try to pull that up and it looked like it didn't get done neither.
Okay. And a week before the wedding, who was there? The seamstress or Mr. McKinney or both?
Both.
Did you have a conversation with Mr. McKinney?
Yes.
Tell me what you said to him and what did he say to you?
But when we looked at this, the seamstress looked at it, she told him, she said, there's really nothing I can do with this dress. And I said, that's what I told him.
Just a second. And what did he say?
He walked away. He was helping somebody else in the store and left her with me.
Did you take the dress?
No, I left it.
Is this the seamstress?
No, that's his
Where's
mother.
the seamstress?
Oh, she's not
Who
here.
was this?
This is my mom. She was in the store when she initially came in the store.
I don't need her. I need the seamstress.
No, she was here.
I need the seamstress, not your mom.
Yeah, but when she left with the dress, I don't know what her and the seamstress...
We never took the
Just a
dress.
second. She didn't take the dress.
But the seamstress took it with her, and she was there when they left. The seamstress took the dress with her, and
She's supposed to have been fixing it for me.
Is that a week before the wedding?
It was...
1 week before the wedding.
Yes.
And what happened?
And she didn't get to it until 3 days before the wedding when she had me to come in.
Come in where?
In her shop.
So you went to a different shop?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did you make this dress or did somebody else?
Someone else makes it.
Just a second. So she came to your shop, but you subcontracted to somebody else to make the dress?
Yes.
Who took the measurements, the initial measurements?
I take the initial...
Just a second. You took the initial measurements.
Yes.
Now it's all coming together.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
What I did see was when she made the turn, this young lady, well.
Did you see this lady there that day?
I did.
She says that you came over into her lane.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Waddell Newman says dressmaker Corey McKinney owes for a substandard wedding dress and for the stress it caused.
Now, you took the initial measurements, handed it over to somebody else.
Yes.
And you paid $650, right?
$750.
$700. I have a paper right here.
I'd like to see it.
I do have two.
I just want to see what you paid.
Oh, she paid $700.
Oh, no, that's not
The $750 one was after he came in and got some shoes. He came in
no.
a week before the 30th
Just to say,
and
all
asked
I
me
want to
for a
see is the
second
bill.
receipt.
All I want to be is the bill. This says shoes, Felicia, wedding dress, catalog, wedding dress, $750.
But you can see what the payments were
Judgment for the plaintiff
made.
in the amount of $750. This is what happened. You took the wrong measurements. You didn't get her what she wanted because there was a spandex material. You subcontracted the dress to somebody else. And then when it didn't work out, you said, you take care of it. Went back to her shop. I don't know whether you paid the lady or not. You didn't do the right thing. They get their money back. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They did everything I could
In all actuality, we never probably should have went to him.
to make her happy.
She was very upset. I mean, it was so emotional those last 2 weeks. I mean, she cried every night.
And I just couldn't make her happy.
Oh, it was bad. It hurted. But I'm so glad that the outcome came good.
Well, just can't please everybody.
Hey, the bride is always right. You know you got to make that woman happy now.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cedrone versus Mushir. Step forward.
18-year-old Amanda Cedrone and her father, David, are suing motorist Aisha Mushir for an accident on the road.
Mr. Cedrone, I assume that you are here, sir, because you are the registered owner of this car. Is that
Yes.
correct? You were not there at the time of the accident.
At the time of the accident, no.
You can have a seat. Mr. Cedrone, you had borrowed your father's car, or was this your car
It's my father's car.
that you had borrowed that day?
Yes.
And you were in a car accident with the defendant. You claimed that it was her fault. You want her to pay for the damage to your car, which was not terribly significant. And she says she had minimal damage to her car. The time that you were driving the car, Ms. Mushir, you're an Uber driver.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you had a passenger in your car.
Yes.
And is this your passenger?
Yes.
Had she been a regular passenger of yours? Had you driven her before? I know,
I
but
got
you
to
had
the
not
car.
met her before that,
No.
the day of the accident. On what day was the accident, Ms. Cedrone?
February 2nd, 2016.
Is that your map?
Yes.
Want to go over and show me? What
Yes.
time of the day was it?
It was about 12:15 p.m.
Where were you going?
I was on my way to school.
Okay.
Okay, so I was on my way to school. I go there 3 days a week, every week. I was on Perry Hall Boulevard in the left-hand turn lane. I was at a red light waiting for my green arrow. The arrow turned green, and I had proceeded to make my turn into the left-hand turn lane of Rossville Boulevard. And I saw the defendant was making a right on red, and she was inching out a little bit, so I intentionally stayed in my lane, the lane closest to me, and then she made the right on red, and then she came into my lane and hit me.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, I'll take a look at it. Maybe that could change my mind, but I have a witness who says that you came into her lane.
And she also told the officer that she turned on the yellow light. But then when her dad got there, he said, no, Amanda, it was green.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amanda Cedrone says fellow motorist Aisha Mushir owes for a car accident.
Now, what I'm permitting her to turn?
Yes, she was in the
turn lane.
In the turn lane, yes.
And you were making a right turn.
Yeah.
And you can make a right turn on red.
Yes.
And you were making a right turn on red.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to go over to your board.
Okay.
So what you are saying is, now I'm looking at the photographs, what you're saying is she came into your lane and she says you came into her lane.
Yes, she came.
Okay. But we agree on this. We agree that you were making your right turn on red.
Yes.
And we agree that you had the right to make a left turn.
Yes.
Okay. Now, were you watching what was going on around you, or were you busy doing something else? You were in the back seat?
I was in the back seat.
Tell me your name.
Sharon Ellerby.
Miss Ellerby, do you remember the point where the cars collided?
Yes, I did.
Did you get out of the car?
I did not.
Did you hear any conversation between the plaintiff and the defendant?
No, I did not. What I did see was when she made the turn, I noticed that this young lady came over into our lane and hit her wheel well.
So you're certain that the plaintiff,
yes,
when she made the turn wide?
Wide, correct.
Okay. Do we have a police? So they did not. Did anyone take a photograph of exactly where the cars were at the time of the collision?
I do not have a photograph. I have a video of my perspective of driving it, and then I have pictures of the damages of the car, but I don't have a picture of the road.
Well, that's actually the most important aspect of this case.
I have pictures of the road.
At the time of the accident?
Not at the time of the accident.
Well, I don't want you to go back. I mean, is there a skid mark? Was there any debris? That would be
nothing
telling.
like that.
Okay. By the way, did you see this lady there that day?
I did.
Okay. So she was just a passenger in the car. She was the witness. She says that you came over into her lane.
I had the right of way. I had a left arrow, and I made that turn, and I saw her inching out to make the right on red, so I stayed in the lane closest to me, just in case she did come into my lane, and she did. But I have pictures to show the damage.
Well, I'll take a look at them. Maybe that could change my mind, but I have an independent witness who says that you came into her lane.
And she also told the officer that she turned on the yellow light. She told the officer that. But then when her dad got there, he said, no, Amanda, it was green. And when I spoke to the insurance companies,
No, don't tell me what
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Judy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Your car was damaged. Question is, was it your fault or not?
No, Your Honor. She came into my lane, and her left front bumper is damaged. My right front fender...
I had a scrape on my bumper, and I actually got out of my car and went back to her because I had pulled my car on the side to get out of traffic.
Just a second. Did you hear any conversation between either the plaintiff and the defendant or police officers when they came?
It was only one officer.
One officer.
No,
you heard no conversation?
I did not.
And as certain as you are that you heard no conversation, is that how certain you are that the plaintiff came into the defendant's lane?
Absolutely.
Okay. The case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A former couple fights over puppy custody.
Where did Nugget spend the night?
With me.
I also always slept in his apartment.
I didn't ask where you were sleeping. I asked where the dog was sleeping.
Judge Judy.
The insurance company said that they were not touching it because...
I didn't go through insurance because my insurance shouldn't have to pay for it.
Their investigation, I was not at fault.
Oh, the investigation, yeah.
Hopefully, she drives a little more carefully.
But the police did say to me at the end, green always wins.
Accept responsibility for what you've done.
Keep driving correctly.
Your rent was $300.
He raised it to $500.
And then he raised it another $100.
Yes.
The cost of her room went through the roof.
It's a free America. That's his choice.
So she chose to make excuses instead of paying.
There was 24 violations from housing.
If he wants to live like a pig in his house, he could live like a pig in his house. And you have a choice to move elsewhere. Move!
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
24-year-old Tierra Kelly is suing her former landlord, Marvin Augustus, for the return of rent and for destroying her belongings.
Order. All rise. This case number 276 on the calendar in the matter of Kelly versus Augustus.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Kelly, you were a tenant of Mr. Augustus for a period of time, and you claim several things. You claim you overpaid him in rent, which he raised your rent $600. According to you, that was in violation of the law. And in addition, you say he put some of your things outside and they were damaged. That's your case. Mr. Augustus says that he owns a private home, and it was ultimately determined that he could charge whatever rent he wants to someone who's renting a room in his private home.
That's correct.
And that you lived there without paying rent from May until October. And in addition, you made some false allegations to the housing authority against him, and that was back in the beginning of the summer. And despite the fact that you reported him to the housing authority for maintaining unsavory living conditions, you elected to stay there until October without paying rent, so he has a counterclaim. All right, let's take care of the easy things first. You moved in on what date, Miss Kelly?
August 2014.
And you moved out on what date?
October 3rd, 2016.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a waitress. I do bottle serving and clubs or events, things like that.
Okay. So you lived there for 2 years?
Yeah.
And I assume you had options as far as living places?
No. I'm from New York, so I came out here and...
Well, of course you have options. If things are unsafe, unsanitary, or too expensive,
if I don't have family...
You move. That's what you do. People who don't like where they live.
Yes.
When did he raise it to $600?
He raised it to $500 first.
When?
January 2015. And then he
$500 first, and you agreed to pay him the $500?
Yes, because I had nowhere else to go.
And then when did he raise it again?
January 2016.
He raised it another $100?
Yes.
Did you have your own room in his house?
Yes.
Any other boarders in his house?
No.
Did he also live there?
Yes.
How long have you been renting a room, Mr. Augustus, in your house?
Well, I had two sisters living with me. They moved in around June of 2014. And
had you ever rented a room to anyone?
No, not prior to the two sisters. I always stayed in my house by myself.
Okay. Now, you're going to show me an official document, and Mr. Augustus is going to show me an official document, and your official document is going to say he overcharged you rent because of something, and your official document is going to tell me that you're not subject to any rule. Do you have that document?
I'm sorry, Judge Judy, I can't hear you.
Okay. Who are you?
Stacy, I'm his daughter.
Could you stand up, please? Tell me your name.
Stacy McKellar.
Miss McKellar, do you have a document from the city indicating that he is not subject to any rent control?
Yes, ma'am.
You do, and you have one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'd like to see it. So that will take care of one issue. Okay, your letter is dated August 4th of 2016.
He got his...
Just a second, I'm reading it. Okay, so this is from the Los Angeles Housing Authority, and it says, Mr. Augustus, we have reviewed a complaint, and it was for an illegal eviction and illegal rent increase. And it says, under the Rent Stabilization Office, rent may be increased a certain amount. You increased her rent too much, and therefore you have to repay her that rent. Then in September, which is a month later, this is also from the Los Angeles Housing Authority, a review of the applicability of the Los Angeles Rent Stabilization Ordinance to this property has been completed. Our review of the available property records indicate that the house located on this lot is not subject to rent stabilization ordinances because it is a single-family dwelling. Single-family dwellings are also exempt from systemic code enforcement program, and their records will be updated to reflect the exemption for this property. Okay, so did you see this letter?
Yeah, but
just
they
a second.
lied. Yes.
All I'm asking is, you saw this letter?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so that takes care of
overpayment. If he already signed before, even after he got that letter, he already signed that he was going to give me money for the overpayment. And they lied because there's another building in the back. Someone pays rent, and his daughter only popped
I'm
up
going to explain it to you.
I know. I'm just telling
I'm going to explain it to you. The explanation is somebody in August didn't do their homework and examine his property and pay attention, and didn't do their homework and looked and said, well, he can't raise rent from $300 to $600 because that's too much of an increase. So they sent you this letter. Based upon this letter, he agreed to pay you the overpayment that they said that he, stop shaking, that he said that they had to pay you. He evidently appealed it or asked them to look into the records, and when they did, they said, whoops, sorry, somebody sent this in August, and they shouldn't have, You live in a private house, and if you want to rent a room, and if somebody wants to pay you $10,000 a month for the private room in a single-family dwelling that's not subject to rent stabilization, you can charge whatever you want. That's what the later letter you want. I've just explained it to you.
I know, but can I speak up on something?
You can tell me whatever you want.
Well, I'm going to let you know why later that popped up, because after we already settled where he had to pay money, he still didn't want to pay me money because he knew he was wrong. I have a letter from the health department stating how the house was not safety at all. There was 24 violations from housing, period, where shouldn't have been living there in that type of living condition.
Move! Move.
I did move. I wasn't going to leave anywhere, and I had nowhere place to go, and someone just throws my stuff out. His daughter wasn't even there for 2 years in a picture. She popped up and lied. There is another dwelling in their back house.
Listen to me. I'm just reading.
I understand what you're reading, but what I'm telling you, that is not facts. That is not the truth.
No, this is fact.
When they're lying to housing and they're telling that, they didn't come back to the house and see that it was only a single family house.
Blueprint. Shh. Listen to me. You're not getting any money. Now, this is a free country. You work, you make a living.
And he
listen, careful. You work, you make a living. If the living conditions that Mr. Augustus chooses to live in his own private house are unacceptable for anybody, you shouldn't live there. It's his house. If a pig in his house. I don't know if his house is a pigsty, but if he wants to live there, it's a free America. That's his choice. You, on the other hand, don't own that house, and you have a choice to move elsewhere. You're supposed to be paying $600 a month rent. So what you did, according to Mr. Augustus, is you stopped paying rent in May.
No.
But you still, just a second, well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But you still lived there in May, June, July, August, and September. For 5 months, despite the fact that it was so terrible, you still lived there. So my next question to you is, if the conditions were so terrible, and you lived there, because it's clear from both of your papers, May, June, July, August, September, and you moved out in October, did you pay rent for those months?
No.
Well, that comes under my story if you go into a restaurant and order a steak. You're a waitress. Pay attention. You go into a restaurant and order a steak. From you, you're the waitress. And you serve the steak, and the person that ordered the steak finishes the steak, and then you give them a bill. And they say, we're not paying for the steak, we didn't like it. And they walk out. Does your boss take that out of your wages that you let somebody eat for free?
That's, but not in this case. I couldn't compare that to this case.
Just a second. If you lived in the house May, June, July, August, and September, you lived in this house that you say was terrible. You called the health department.
Can I tell you why I stayed that long? Because in May, I received a 3-day notice where he told me he was just going to kick me out, and I had to just leave and pay that money, and he threw my things out. He threw my things out then, where I had to call the cops on him. He never served me an eviction notice.
You're not answering my question.
But I'm saying why I stayed that long. Because he was trying to still get money from me without any eviction notice, without any of that stuff, before I even had notice of all that stuff.
Miss Kelly.
Before I had notice of housing, of that being a single family, of anything.
Miss Kelly, I'm not talking about him.
I'm talking about why I stayed.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
I stayed because I had legal rights to still stay there, even though he tried to just
Your
give me
case is
notice.
dismissed. The whole thing is dismissed because you don't pay attention. I'm really trying to explain to you. No, you're not answering my question.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Do me a favor. Button that button on your shirt.
Sure. Certainly. Yes, I actually
I'm not finished. The next one, too.
Wow.
Because this is not an audition for anything, Mr. Tanzi. This is a case that's going to be over very fast.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tierra Kelly says former landlord Marvin Augustus owes for the return of rent and destroying her belongings. Marvin is countersuing for rent and for making false charges to the housing authority.
Now, if you live in a disgusting place that you
and I had nowhere to go, so I stayed.
You mean this is the only house in Los Angeles?
That's the only place where I had
Your
to stay
case is
where
dismissed.
I could pay money.
Now, your rent was $600 a month, and you lived there for 5 months. That's $3,000 that you didn't pay him. That's $3,000. You ate the steak.
And I overpaid him money.
No, you didn't overpay it, not according to the County of Los Angeles.
Okay.
You owe him $3,000. Judgment on the counterclaim. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, the plaintiff was a squatter.
I did not pay that rent because he knew that he gave me too much, that I paid him too much money.
And extortionist.
He was perfectly fine with me living there until I did not give him $400, which he was getting.
And that she was just trying to get something for nothing.
She wasn't there at all, like in the picture ever around for 2 years that I lived there.
So I felt like my father was being taken advantage of.
She was never there for holidays. He was there by himself on holidays. He's there by himself every day, all the time. But, you know.
And she's upset because she can't sit in my dad's backyard and dance naked anymore.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Latin versus Tansey. Step forward.
Jennifer Latin is suing David Tansey for selling her a Prius with a lien on the title.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Tansey?
I'm a self-employed entrepreneur.
A self-employed?
So, I'm an entrepreneur.
What does that mean?
It means I try to find profitable business enterprises.
How do you support yourself?
Primarily right now through vacation rentals.
So you have rental property that you own or that you're an agent for?
I have
Would you do me a favor? Button that button on your shirt. That's...
Certainly. Yes, I actually
I'm not finished. The next one, too.
Wow.
Because this is not an audition for anything, Mr. Tansey. This is a case that's going to be over very fast, because this is what happened. Mr. and Mrs. Latin were looking for a car for their son. They saw a car that you were advertising on Craigslist, and they came to look at the car. They liked it, and they negotiated a price with you. This was a car that you owned, but which had on it a title loan. Wasn't going so well because those people who take out title loans on their car usually are desperate for money. So they negotiated a price with you, and they knew that the car had a title loan. Stop playing with your pen. They knew that the car had a title loan because you told them that you were going to take part of the money that they paid you and go to pay off the title loan. As a matter of fact, they even went to the bank with you at one point, and you gave them a receipt showing that you had, in fact, paid off the title loan. Well, then they went to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and the Department of Motor Vehicles initially said there's still a title loan on the car. Come back on Monday. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. Now, I may be doing a Reader's Digest version of this story, but this is the gist of it, and this is only a half-hour program.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Okay, so this is the man of integrity we're dealing with. So he had to take a title loan out on the car. Did you ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
You ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
Camera one, did you ever take out a title loan on your car?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jennifer Latin says David Tansey sold her a Prius.
What seems, Mr. Tansey, is that you did, in fact, go to the bank with Mr. and Mrs. Latin and paid off the $1,401 that was left on the title loan. The only problem is because your business, this entrepreneur business-ship that you're involved in, is so lousy that you had bounced a couple of other checks that you wrote, and the bank paid those checks and then bounced the check to the title company so that the loan was never paid off. So they can't register the car. Well, now they come back to you and say, what happened? According to you, you say to them, you know, I gave you this car for a really good price. Why don't you just give it back to me, and I'll give you back your money because I can sell it to somebody else for more money. And according to you, they say, no, we love the car. We'll pay off your title loan. That's what you say. That's what he says. And what you did actually was, you did pay off the title loan.
Yes, we did.
Using a?
Credit card.
And what did Mr. Tansey say he was going to do about this title loan that you paid off so that you could now register the car that you had already given him how many thousands of dollars for?
$9,250.
In a cashier's check.
Correct.
when you agreed to pay off the credit card?
He said that he would be able to pay us back. He's a man of his word within 30 days. That's where my husband was with me at the bank, and that he's a man of his word. He has integrity. It's not going to be a problem.
Okay, so this is the man of integrity we're dealing with, and who's his integrity. He's an entrepreneur, and that's the way he makes his living. So he had to take a title loan out on the car. Do you and your husband both work?
Yes, we do.
And you have vehicles?
Correct.
Did you ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
Did you ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
You ever take out a title loan on your car?
No.
Camera one, did you ever take out a title loan on your car? Did he ever give you any money towards the title loan?
No, he didn't.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Mr. Tansey, clearly you understood that it was your responsibility to pay off the title loan because you went to the bank with Mr. and Mrs. Latin to show them that you were, in fact, paying off the title loan with the $9,000 that they gave you for the car. So you understood it was your responsibility.
That was, in fact, a courtesy.
No, listen, responsibility, which is why you went to the bank with them to show them that you were paying it off. And you gave them, just a second, and you gave them the receipt, right? And you said in your answer, sir, that the problem was that some checks had bounced in your account.
Well, I'd like to clarify something
No,
first.
don't clarify. First, answer my question.
All right.
You said in your answer, which I read very carefully, that checks bounced in your account, which caused the check for the lien to bounce, which is why it was never cleared. That's what you said in your answer. Was that the truth or a lie?
That is what I was told from the bank.
That's what you were told, and that's what you believed.
Yes.
Then you understood that you had a responsibility, because you did pay it, that it was your responsibility to pay off the loan from the proceeds. Or you mean you just felt like taking Mr. and Mrs. Latin, or they're a very nice couple, to the bank with you? You just felt like taking an afternoon ride with them to the bank? And so either one of two things, Mr. Tansey. Either you felt like taking a ride with Mr. and Mrs. Latin, you had nothing else to do.
They are very pleasant people.
Okay, $1,401.
And she agreed
It's
to
not
pick
an
me up.
audition. Get him out of here.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, the ad said clean, which means no lien. If it says clean, it doesn't mean salvage.
And then there's a title with a lien. She understood it had a lien. She signed a bill of sale knowing it had a lien.
I would have never even answered the ad if it had a lien on it.
Bill of sale, it said the lien is clearly depicted on there.
He definitely seems like he's an entrepreneur out to get money any way he can.
Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous.
I love Judge Judy. I always have, and I do even more now. Justice was served.
That is the adorable Nugget.
A former couple fights over puppy custody.
Where did Nugget spend the night?
With me.
Your house.
I also always slept in his apartment.
I didn't ask where you were sleeping. I asked where the dog was sleeping.
Now,
Miss Khaleesi, you are getting yourself in so much difficulty.
will her broken heart be enough?
I took care of my dog. Like, I had an Instagram account for him. Like, I loved my dog. That was my child, you know.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
23-year-old Jenna Khaleesi is suing her ex-boyfriend, Michael Trayers, for the return of her dog and for falsely accused.
Now, it's case number 265 on the calendar in the matter of Khaleesi versus Trayers.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
That is the adorable Nugget.
It is, yes.
I've read the complaint and your answer. Why don't you put Nugget down? He would like to say hello to Miss Khaleesi, I think. Probably hasn't seen her for a bit.
It's been like a month or so.
Month or so.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay, come on, buddy.
Okay. Is Nugget friendly?
Yeah, he was actually going to just go visit you, I think.
Okay. Very good. All right, this is what the case is about. You two were a couple, and you're no longer a couple. You're fighting over the dog. So I have to make a judgment as to who owns the dog. Now, Miss Khaleesi, when you and Mr. Treyers were a couple, on what date did you start living together?
We unofficially were living together in his Lawrence apartment in May of 2015.
What does that mean?
Well, we started dating in April of 2015.
April? Just a second. Let's go very slowly. April 2015, you started dating.
Yes.
Were you living in your own apartment?
Yes.
Any roommates?
Yes.
How many?
I had 2 roommates.
And you had a lease?
Yes.
And when did your lease expire? You had a new lease in April with roommates.
It was probably a few months before that.
And you moved in at some point with Mr. Treyers?
Yes.
Just a second. I asked the question. You moved in at some point with Mr. Treyers into his apartment?
Yes.
What date?
I don't have an actual date. The roommate situation that I was having in my apartment wasn't that great. So me and my...
Just a second. When was the last month you paid rent in that apartment that you had with roommates?
Probably March of 2015.
So you mean you lived there March and April without paying rent?
No. I had the apartment before I met Mike.
I understand what you're saying. You were living with roommates.
Yes.
That lease with the roommates expired January of 2016.
I believe it was actually, I think it actually expired in...
I want you to try to compose yourself. You probably didn't think I was going to go here, but we're going to figure out certain things my way. And if you need other people, like your roommate, to help you, I'll place the call. When was the last month you paid rent on the apartment that you were living in with your roommates?
April of 2015.
And you moved in with Michael in May.
I started sleeping at his apartment like most nights, and then gradually just kind of like had more.
And with the defendant to his apartment, give me the month.
The month that we moved into the apartment in Lowell was September 1st of 2015.
Where did you get your mail between May and September?
At my apartment in Lowell.
Where your roommates were?
Yes.
So that's where you were residing?
Yes.
In your apartment until September, when you moved in with the defendant?
Yes.
Great. Now, Mr. Treyers.
Yes, Your Honor.
When was Nugget purchased?
In June 18th, 2015.
And when Nugget was purchased, from June 18th until September 1st,
yes,
where did Nugget spend the night?
Every single night since I have bought him has spent with me.
At your house. Did Nugget ever spend the night at Miss Khaleesi's apartment with her roommates?
No, they weren't allowed to have animals there, actually.
That's
okay. And you're shaking your head that that is not true. I need the name and phone number of your roommates.
Okay. I can
get it. So what you're telling me, Miss Khaleesi, is that you were allowed to have pets in the apartment where you were living with your roommates?
No.
Okay, then I don't need the name of your roommates.
I was paying for an apartment that I wasn't living in. So together, I very, very rarely would go there. So that is why I ultimately ended my lease with my roommates, because I was paying for an apartment that I wasn't at, because I spent every night at his house.
You just told me that you paid rent.
Yep, I paid rent until we came to an agreement. I paid out the amount. I paid about $2,000 to my roommate.
Miss Khaleesi, you are getting yourself in so much difficulty because you're trying to figure out where I'm going, and you're not going to figure out where I'm going. So if you try to tailor your testimony to where you think it's going to help your case, what happens is I have a good memory. Mm-hmm. And you told me you stopped paying rent in April of 2015, and you moved in to an apartment together, a new apartment with the defendant, September 1st. Then I asked him, did the dog always sleep in your apartment? He bought the dog in June, which means that July and August, you kept shaking your head when he said the dog always slept in my apartment. You shook your head, no.
I also always slept in his apartment.
I didn't ask where you were sleeping. I asked where the dog was sleeping. Do you understand?
Yes.
Fine. Now, do you have the papers for the dog when you purchased the dog? I'd like to take a look at the papers.
This is the only physical paper that we were given at the time. It also went through a third party, which she's going to show you.
Just a second, I can read. So at the time, Mr. Treyers,
yes,
you are named as the purchaser.
Mm-hmm.
You lived at 270.
Yes, Your Honor. And that's on the third party paperwork with my name as the leasee under 270. This is also the pet amendum from when we signed the lease.
May I see that, please?
Sure.
And then I have the contract here.
And this is when you moved into the new apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
In September?
Yeah, it was September 15th, not the 1st.
Okay. What do you have there?
This is the contract that was signed when we purchased the dog. So it was through, so the Puppy Palace was the place that we got the dog at, but the dog was financed. So it was financed through 2 different parties.
That's what I was referring to for you.
So on that contract.
Okay, so this is a financing agreement. They call it a lessee name. The lessee name is Michael Trayers, and the co-lessee name is...
Nobody, but my signature is on every page.
Is nobody.
Yeah,
Okay, so
no
you're paying
co-lessee.
this puppy out.
Apologize.
Puppy was $1,500. Did you pay $1,500 on that date?
No, since
The
it was
answer is no.
I paid
So-
$125
So
in
you're
cash.
paying the puppy off in certain installments.
Correct, yes.
Okay, great. Starting...
Because all my credit cards are tied up into all my bills. I pay for all my rent.
Whatever, I don't care.
Okay, I'm just saying. So I asked Jenna if she could put her credit card down.
So they ran my credit.
So she put her
Fine.
card down and signed it. That's why her signature
I
is
got
on the
it.
paper.
I
So I
got
was
it.
giving her cash every month until September when we moved in together. Our
That's all.
agreement was...
Just a sec.
I've proved too. Our agreement was in September that she would pay the 2 smallest bills because she's in college and I didn't want her to have a big strain. So I paid all the rent, all the food.
Okay, you paid...
Every
that's
single
what
dog
you...
bill.
Shh, listen to me. So you paid the major expenses.
Yes.
And it was your agreement that Miss Khaleesi pay the pet bill and, according to you, a utility bill?
The cable bill.
Cable
Utility and cable and food and everything else.
bill. No, not rent.
Not rent, but he also
Okay.
wasn't paying rent. His mom was.
Okay.
Because he wasn't working.
I'm talking now about the dog. What I have is June 18th, the puppy was purchased. The puppy lived with the defendant until September 1st when you moved in together. And the puppy stayed at his house until you moved into a new premises on September 1st. Now what I want to see is not your payments, because he acknowledges that you made payments September 1st, whatever reason he gives for the fact that you finally separated. Now, you separated once in April and then got back together briefly in May, according to you. On what date did you finally separate?
June 1st was the official day that I moved out.
Of this year?
Of 2016, yes.
Now, after June 1st of 2016, did you make any payments for the dog? After June 1st?
I made the last payment that was made was June 20th of 2016. I have the printout off of the
So
financing.
you didn't pay July, August, September, or October?
No.
Okay, so for the last 4 months, you didn't pay for the dog?
I did not. I was in constant contact with the financing company because they kept informing me that payments were not being made. They kept calling me and telling me that the dog was going to get repossessed because Mike was not making
Listen
payments.
to me. You can't tell me what the finance company said to you. That's hearsay. All I want to know is you did not make payments on the dog for those 4 months, and the dog was with the defendant.
Yes.
So from September 1st until June 20th.
June 20th.
The payments were made by you. You don't deny that.
I denied June, but September to May she paid. Correct.
Fine. I'd like to see your payments after that.
I have a credit report from them stating that everything's payment on time.
I have.
I asked you a question. That's not my question, Mr. Trayers.
What's that?
The question was...
This shows payments.
Just a second.
Okay, I'm
First, I asked you the question. Did you make the payments in July, August, September, and/or October, which we're not quite finished with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you make the payments? And is that going to demonstrate the payments to me? Can I see them, please?
Can I give you this as well to show that this says what I purchased the animal in full for yesterday as well?
That you what?
This is from that company stating that I purchased the animal yesterday for a certain amount as well.
I don't know. I don't know. Let me see.
I have from the financing website the 2 times. Mike's only made 2 payments on this dog. Mike made a payment with a credit card on 8/25 of 2016 and then 9/21 of 2016. He has not been keeping up with the payments.
Just a second. Last payment made June 20th. Would you show me your check or any proof that you made a payment on June 20th? You. Check. Does that come from your bank?
This came from the financing website, so this was just the spreadsheet of everything. Like,
No. I want to see that you made the payment on June 20th. If you moved out on June 1st, I want to see that you made the payment on June 20th.
This is my bank statement right here, and it's highlighted.
Well, it looks like she made the payment on June 20th.
Like I said, I could be
She
off by
made the
month.
payment on June 20th.
Okay.
The first payment he made was on 8/25 of 16.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I took care of my dog. Like, I had an Instagram account for him. Like, I loved my dog. That was my child, you know. Mike didn't work.
So he stayed home with the dog?
He did. He stayed home with the dog because he was unemployed and because he would just sit around and be...
I'd be with the dog.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jenna Khaleesi says ex-boyfriend Michael Trayers owes for the return of her dog and for false accusations of assault. Michael is countersuing for unpaid bills and the cost of the dog.
Now, did you take your name off the lease?
On the apartment lease?
No, on the dog lease. Did you take your name off the dog lease?
No.
So your name is still on the dog lease?
My name was never on the dog lease. Just my signature.
So you're not on the dog lease?
No.
So you're not on the dog lease, and you're not listed as the purchaser of the dog. Those are the facts. Now you...
I feel that I'm entitled to the dog because it was my child. It was my, you know, I work, I go to school, I took care of my dog. Like, I had an Instagram account for him. Like, I loved my dog. That was my child, you know. Mike didn't work. He didn't have any money, so I was making these payments.
So he stayed home with the dog?
He did. He stayed home with the dog, but he would be in the same exact spot.
You go to school. You work, you go to school. Dog's like your child, but he stayed home, according to you. I mean, I don't know if it's true.
Because he was unemployed and because he would just sit around and be...
I'd be with the dog. Miss Khaleesi, you have no case. He is the registered owner of the dog. The dog has been with him consistently. He is on the lease for the dog. That, by the way, that lease is sort of unconscionable.
The leasing company contacted me yesterday.
Listen to me. You can't tell me what they said. That's hearsay.
I have a new contract.
I don't care.
So they contacted me and
they can't give you a contract over a pet that you don't own.
They admitted that they were wrong.
Just a second.
That they filed it wrong.
You have no case. The leasing company cannot give you a contract to pay for a dog that doesn't belong to you. According to this yellow document that says the purchaser of the dog is the defendant. So you may make it just like I buy a car. And you are allowed to use that car. And you decide that since you were allowed to use it and you made some payments on the car, you want to own the car. So you go to the Department of Motor Vehicles and say, well, I want to show you that I made payments on this car and I should be on the title. They look at the ownership and who is the car registered to, and they say the registered owner of this car is Judy Scheindlin, not you. Well, you say, here is proof that I made some payments on the car. Motor Vehicles is still not going to let you be the title holder of that car, and they're not going to give you the ability to go and get that car.
Would you like to take a look at this?
No, I'm telling you what the law is. I don't care what some kook in a lending company tells you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He says that the bill has been fully paid. And Mr. Trayers,
Yes,
I certainly expect that to be true, that the bill is not delinquent.
It says it on their credit report right there, too.
I don't care what the credit report says, sir.
Okay.
I asked you a simple question.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jenna Khaleesi claims ex-boyfriend Michael Trayers owes for the return of her dog and for bills and the cost of the dog.
Now, I'm telling you what the law is. He is the owner of the dog. And absent them repossessing the dog for non-payment, which they can if he doesn't pay, and then saying to you, we have now repossessed the dog for non-payment. If you want to pay off this, we will give you the dog because we have the legal right to come and claim the dog. That's a possibility. And that would mean that Mr. Trayer better make certain that there is no outstanding debt on this dog.
That's why the piece of paper you have actually states
which actually shows that. But if he did owe money on the dog, and if they decided to repossess the dog, then they would say, well, I'm going to sell it or whatever. And I certainly know that Miss Khaleesi wants it, so I'll offer it to her first if she wants to pay off this note. But they can't make you the owner of the dog. They can't. The dog looks very happy. Was happy to see you. Was happy to see you. Is this a new boyfriend?
No.
No, just friend?
Best friend of 8 years. He witnessed pretty much everything that happened in our relationship.
I don't care what he witnessed. I don't care that you had a fight. I don't care that you went over with the police to try to get the dog. I don't care if he blocked you in. I don't care.
The new contract that they emailed to me said that they were giving me the title of the dog.
Listen, they have to give him notice that they are going to come and repossess the animal. Do you understand? If they do it, and he says that the bill has been fully paid, Mr. Trayers,
Yes,
I
Your Honor.
certainly expect that to be true.
It is.
That the bill is not delinquent, because it would be sad.
It says it on their credit report right there, too.
I don't care what the credit report says, sir.
Okay, I apologize.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I asked you a simple question. The simple question was, she can get the dog if they come and take the dog from you with a marshal. Do you understand that?
Yes, that's correct.
Right?
Yes.
Do you live at the same place?
I do.
That's on these contracts?
Yes.
Great, so they know where to go. Perfect. Very good. And at that point, if you are delinquent in the payments, Ms. Khaleesi will then be in a position to pay off the contract and get the dog.
I'm more than well aware, yes, Your Honor. I said I'm more than well aware, yes, Your Honor.
You are?
Yes.
Okay. That's it. We're done. If that happens, the dog can be yours. Otherwise, I certainly suggest that if you want a pet, you go out and get one. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Seeing another girl.
Because he's holding it over me because he wants me to get back. He wanted to get back together.
She started messaging that other girl Facebook.
He just says that he wants to get back together.
They started talking to each other. Then she broke into my house and stole my dog.
The police got involved because I found out that my name was all over that contract and that Mike has been lying to me about everything.
I called the police because she broke into my house, stole my dog.
And the police told me that I needed to take this to civil court.
And then I had to go outside and she physically assaulted me.
I went over there because I used to live there. So I met up with Mike to him to show me the paperwork, and he didn't show me the paperwork that had my name on it.
You know, I tried to actually share the dog with her and be a nice guy.
And I found out through a third party that my name was all over that paperwork.
She didn't want to. She wanted to make it personal.
So I contacted the police, I contacted a lawyer, and I tried to get my dog back.
No way. I'll say that very lightly. There's no way in hell that she is going to see this dog.
And he's ill fit to take care of the dog.
Well, I just appreciate Judge Judy doing her job.
You purchased a lottery ticket. Lo and behold, you won. What did you do next?
Celebrated.
A couple's lucky streak came to an end.
I told Dave, someone claimed our ticket. Somebody stole our ticket.
And that's how we get to the defendant who cashed your lottery ticket.
But should they have taken their chances with the judge?
My father-in-law contacted me one morning saying, hey.
So are you.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
David and Kathleen Purcell are suing 22-year-old Sean Linwood for stealing their winning lottery ticket.
Order. All rise. That's case number 250 on the calendar in the matter of Purcell versus Linwood.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Purcell, you purchased a lottery ticket.
Correct.
Where did you purchase it?
A bar next to our home.
And where is that?
In Sandy, Oregon.
When did you purchase it?
February 20th, 2016.
How much did you pay for the lottery ticket, and what were the prizes?
We paid $20 for 20 games. It was an 8-spot Keno ticket.
Have you played this particular lottery before? And it's an Oregon lottery.
Yes, and yes, we have.
Did you ever win before?
Yes.
And prior to this ticket, how much had you won before?
We won one for $600 once.
And that's the only time?
No, we've won a couple for about that amount.
A couple for $600?
Yes.
So it more than paid for itself?
Yes.
I assume. That's
Yes.
why you keep playing. Lucky people.
Yeah, we've lost it.
People usually only talk about their wins.
Absolutely.
So you bought this lottery ticket, and lo and behold, you won. How much did you win?
$1,750.
And you found out that you won how?
Well, my husband went and checked the Did You Win machine, and it said, you're a winner, please see your retailer. So he brought it up to the bartender, who is our witness, Tria, and she scanned the ticket. Now, if you win over $600, it doesn't tell you immediately how much you won. You have to go back and check the numbers, and then you can find out how much you won. but we had hit 7 out of the 8 numbers, and that paid $17.50.
What did you do next?
Celebrated. And then the next day, I went and got a claim form, which you can get right there at the saloon. And I brought it home, and Dave, my husband, filled it out the next day.
Listing your name, your address?
It was in my name. He put the claim form in my name. He even took a picture of the ticket.
Okay.
We put it in the claim form and sent it out the next day.
And you have a picture of the ticket?
Yes.
Correct.
And then what do? They send you a check?
Yeah, you send it into Salem, Oregon, and it usually takes about 3 days to get it back.
And it didn't come back?
And it didn't come back.
And you began investigating, and you had the picture of the ticket with the numbers.
Yeah, we waited the 2 weeks that they tell you to wait. On the 15th day, I called down there to Lottery and gave her my last name, money. Well, they didn't have any of our information. So I told Dave, someone claimed our ticket. Somebody stole our ticket. So that's when I put in a public records request through the Lottery and received his information.
Okay, and that's how we get to the defendant who cashed your lottery ticket.
Correct.
Okay. First, I'd like to see a photo of the ticket.
He has it on his phone that is actually date stamped. I have a picture of it here, but if you'd like to see it with the date on it.
I would.
That's the picture of the ticket, and then he has it on his phone also. That was taken in February.
Got it. Thank you.
We also have our claim form. You'd like to see that?
I would. As a matter of fact, I'd like to have it up here.
You'd notice the date. It's the 22nd of February.
Okay. Did you contact Mr. Linwood personally?
I contacted him through Facebook.
And did he respond?
Yes, after a couple of attempts.
Okay. And what did he say to you when he responded on Facebook?
I'd be glad to show you that.
I'd like to see it.
I draw your attention to the last few.
I'm going to read them all.
Yeah, because he does change his story a couple of times. Okay.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Linwood?
I drive forklift, I do retail, and I do warehouse work.
Let's try to get one cogent story, sir.
Okay.
On what date did this lottery ticket come into your possession?
It had to have been February 27th or probably the beginning of March.
And how did it come into your possession?
Came into my possession, my father-in-law at the time, he contacted me one morning saying, hey, I won a lottery ticket of $1,750. I said, oh, wow, that's awesome. He said, well, could you help me out? It's unsigned. Can you turn it in for me? Because if I turn it in, I'm afraid that child support will take most of it. And I said, yeah, sure.
Stand up. What do you do for a living?
I'm a well driller.
What's your last name?
Richard.
On what date did this lottery ticket come into your possession?
It was on a Friday night. I was at a bar called the Country Corral.
You go to the bar often?
No, I played video poker that night.
Is this bar near to where you live?
Close, yes.
You never know where I'm going to be going, Mr. Richard.
Right.
Do you understand?
I got you.
Great. So it's close to where you live, and you've lived at this address for how long?
Probably 2 months at the time.
Why 2, Kate?
My daughter and my son-in-law.
So the 3 of you moved into this place together. Am I understanding that you moved into this new place 2 months before, so that would have been in December, with the defendant and your daughter?
Correct.
You see how you don't know where I'm going, so you understand that?
Yes, I do, Your
Yes,
Honor.
you do. So now you're at a place with Mr. Linwood, and Mr. Linwood just told me that he got a call from you. Now he lives with you. Why do you think that I would believe that since you were living with him, he would call you instead of discussing it with you when he saw you at home? Why do you think that, Mr. Linwood?
Well,
Get to think fast. Just tell me why you think that he would call you, and you would have a record of that, correct? On your phone log that he called you.
I do not, Your Honor. It was an old phone.
But why do you think he would call you instead of discussing it with you in person? Because clearly he wanted you to do something illegal, right? Right? If he was looking to avoid child support, he was looking to do something illegal, right?
Yes.
Isn't that something you would want to discuss in person with somebody rather than over the phone?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
So why would you think the way? Where did you get the call?
I got the call. I was at my house, and
where was he?
He's not always at the house.
It's going to get better. I'm going to enjoy it better. All right. Now, Mr. Richard.
Your Honor.
Do you understand? This is not going to turn out well for you or for him, because I read his texts back and forth to the plaintiffs. And his texts back and forth suggests to me he clearly knew that he came into possession of this lottery ticket that did not belong to him. And you knew that if you were involved, that you came into possession of the lottery ticket that didn't belong to you, because immediately what he said was, please don't go to the cops. I will have your money, please. And the first thing he said was that you gave him the lottery ticket as a gift.
As a gift.
As a gift. But then he said that you didn't give it to him as a gift. He said you asked him to cash it for you so that you could avoid child support. Which one do you think it is?
Gift.
It was a gift to him.
Yes.
Well, then he had the money, you see. Then 2 weeks later... 2 weeks later, he had the money. He said, I didn't spend most of it. I have $900. Then he said, I have $1,400. I have to wait until I get paid. Your tone changed, Mr. Linwood.
Yes, it did, Your Honor.
And why did your tone change?
Your Honor, my father-in-law told me...
Your father-in-law's a liar. So he can sit down. Sit. And so are you. In a short space of 2 pages, you changed your story 3 times.
Yes, I did.
And you swore, and just a second, and you swore to me that he's a liar. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because he just said to me that it was a gift to you. And your answer says he asked me to cash the lottery ticket for him, and this is a sworn deposition, because at the time he owed back child support, and he was afraid that his winnings would be taken away from him. Now, he just swore to me that he made this lottery ticket gift as a gift to you.
It was not a gift, Your Honor.
Well, so then you just called him a liar. So he's a liar.
Yes.
That's what I said. That's why I told him to sit down. You see, and you came together. And you two are so stupid you can't even get your stories together. You slept in the same hotel room last night. You can't get your stories together. They ought to give a prize for stupid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1750. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out. I bought the ticket from somebody that was on a...
Winning lottery ticket off somebody unless it was acquired illegally.
I have no idea who this guy was.
It's too fishy. Why would you put yourself in that? They just thought they weren't going to get caught.
Regardless of a gift or whatever, they didn't sign their ticket.
I really have no hard feelings to Sean. I think he was kind of stuck in the middle of this thing.
So I decided to go ahead and buy it. It seemed legit.
The father-in-law, I'm not so sure.
And I'll double my money anytime.
I don't buy the story at all.
She said, quote unquote, we either think it's a lottery worker or a postal worker.
We couldn't get much results from police enforcement.
Well, I'm neither of those. I have no ties to those. So therefore, I did not steal it.
I'm low on the priority board, so I turned to Judge Judy and I got justice.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brady versus Lindsay. Step forward.
Trudy Brady is suing 24-year-old Marasha Lindsay for an unpaid loan for a car down payment.
Miss Brady, you were working at a used car lot, is that right?
Correct.
How long have you worked there?
Since October 23rd of last year.
And on what date did you sell Miss Lindsay a car?
January 15th of 2016.
What kind of car did you sell her?
2006 Toyota Avalon.
And she financed it?
Correct.
How much did you sell it? Your commission on the $11,950?
Total commission that I would receive would be $559.40.
This is what your complaint is. Miss Lindsay didn't have sufficient funds to make the down payment.
Correct.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
You had sufficient funds to make the down payment?
That's how I got the car, Your Honor.
No, that's not my question.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When did you total the car?
I totaled the car in April, Your Honor.
Very well, that's when your last payment was.
Well, Your Honor, when I told her I had totaled the car, she said that was fine.
I don't care what you're saying she said. You owed her $1,030. Did you have insurance?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Trudy Brady says Marasha Lindsay borrowed money for a car down payment and has not paid it back.
Now, Miss Brady says that she made a loan to you for part or all of the down payment. So my question to you is, you bought a car for $11,950. You had to put a certain amount down on the car in cash.
Yes.
How much was the down payment that had to be placed on the car?
$2,500.
How much money did you have?
$980.
Where did you get the rest of the money from?
Ms. Brady.
Your Honor, that's incorrect information.
I didn't ask you anything. How were you?
In payments.
Starting when?
I got paid weekly, so as soon as I got paid again.
Okay. And you bought the car in mid-January?
Yes.
So you're supposed to start making your first payment to her a week later?
Yes.
Did you make it?
Yes.
How much was it?
I made payments in increments of $60.
$60 a week?
Yes, but it was also money taken out of my account that I have here. $309 and $206.
Taking out of your account was for the finance company.
No, it wasn't. It was for her. The finance company was a completely different company than the car dealership. But I have right here, it's exactly to that car dealership, not the finance company.
Well, this loan was not to the car dealership. This was a loan she made you personally for the down payment.
But that's how she collected the money, through the car dealership. The $980 as well as the $309 and the $206.
That's all incorrect. Everything she said is incorrect.
It doesn't make sense to me.
It's not
I have it right here.
Well, I'd like to take a look at it, what you have.
I also have the correct paperwork right here. This is the loan agreement. Here.
Select Motor Cars. Is that where you work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what were these payments that were made to Select Motor Cars on February 16th of 2016, on January 19th of 2016, January 11th of 2016? Why in the world did she make a payment?
The correct bills, and I have the original receipts here. When she walks into my office to pay me, I'll write out a receipt right then because she's coming during when I'm at work. Her correct payments were on the 15th of January, February 13th, 26th of February, the 12th of March, the 27th of March, and the 29th of April.
I'd like to see
this is a summation.
You signed this document?
Yes.
And you signed that on the day that you purchased the car?
I'm not sure. I started signing
January
documents
15th.
Oh, yes.
She says that you made payments on the money that you owed her, and the only balance left was $1,030.
But, Your Honor, the balance keeps going up. The balance didn't go up until I totaled the car and found out that I had insurance, would be getting money back. That's when the balance started going up.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's as clear as anything.
You know, if I myself had knowledge of that, I would have never signed that. Pay back 10% in a month, that's not even legal. I would have never signed that had I known what I was signing. I signed a lot of paperwork that she gave a lot of different details to.
That's your mistake.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Trudy Brady says Marasha Lindsay borrowed money for a car down payment and has not paid it.
Her back the entire amount of this loan, which was $29.70.
No, Your Honor, I didn't get receipts.
Well, if she was going to make this up, Miss Lindsay, she would certainly, since you signed a document that you owed her $2,790, she could just as easily have said to me that you owed her $29.70. She didn't. She said the only balance left is $1,030. When did you total the car?
I totaled the car in April, Your Honor.
Right, well, that's when your last payment was.
Well, Your Honor, when I told her I had totaled the car, she said that was fine. The payments were fine.
Just a second. I don't care what you're saying she said. You owed her $1,030 at the time you totaled the car. Did you have insurance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did the insurance company pay you for the car?
They covered the total cost of my car, yes, Your Honor.
They did? Well, if they covered the whole cost of your car, then I assume you replaced the car.
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
Because they only paid off the car. I didn't have any money left over.
Well, then that's why you didn't finish paying her off, because this was a personal loan. Had nothing to do with the car dealership.
Well, Your Honor, originally she told me that there was going to be a discount on it. She had me write up a check saying that the check was voided, that she needed that for tax write-off purposes, that it wasn't due for me to sign back. And I don't know. Like, I don't know much about... I signed a bunch of papers that I don't know much about.
Well,
and that was included in the papers.
That's pretty ridiculous to sign a lot of papers that you don't know anything about.
On my behalf. I take
but
that.
This is a very simple document. This is a very simple document. Down payment. She made a loan to you so that you would have the money to put down on the car so that you could finance the rest. And you had insurance, so the insurance company paid off your car.
Well, Your Honor, that's not how it was told to me by Ms. Brady.
I don't care how it was told to you. You owe her $1,030, unless you can demonstrate to me that you paid her.
Your Honor, originally how it was told to me was what the finance company financed to me, that was part of my down payment. She told me to write a check that was voided.
No.
And that she would use that for tax purposes. And to pay whatever the finance company
Lindsay
didn't give
agreed
her.
to repay a personal loan of $2,700 with 10% interest rate, making a total to be repaid to the plaintiff of $2,970. That's plain English.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the full amount is due by February 14th, 2016. I understand that if I do not repay this loan in full by the above date, which you did not, by the way, because she allowed you to continue to make payments, you say the last payment was in April.
Correct.
Despite the fact that you were supposed to have it all paid off in February. I understand that if I do not pay off the debt by the above date, which is February, Miss Brady may sue me in small claims or anything.
You know, if I myself had knowledge of that, I would have never signed that 10%, pay back 10% in a month. That's not even legal. I would have never signed that had I known what I was signing. I signed a lot of paperwork that she gave a lot of different details to.
That's your mistake.
I'll take that negligence, but no, I would have never signed 10%.
But you
10%
did.
on a 1-month loan?
Well, it turned out to be not 10% on a 1-month loan. Right now, that amount is on a 7-month loan that you still haven't repaid.
Because I was taken advantage of.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,030. We're done.
Thank you, Judge Judy.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Some get clever.
It's the story. I'm sticking to it.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Others get hostile.
I'm going to tell you what happened.
Judge Judy gets the last word.
They don't keep me here because I'm gorgeous. They keep me here because I'm smart.
I'm very pleased with the judge's decision. It's a legitimate, wonderful company that I work with.
I would have never signed a 10% loan over a month loan. Like, that's crazy, 10% interest. I don't even think that's legal.
She was a type of person that tried to hustle me, contacted me, desperate to buy a vehicle.
Because I was desperate for a car, and
she knew what she was signing, the agreement. Nobody else would loan her them since she was out of the... in the military, had honor.
I have a newborn child and I have a job. I need a car, so I took it.
And had a small child, was a single mother. I was trying to help someone.
It's very shady. It's very shady.
You can't trust everybody.
It was determined that we would not live together peacefully. Ms. Baker decided to lock me out of the apartment.
His former roommate tries to pass the buck.
My full defense is I'm not the landlord.
You were the one who put the stuff outside.
After his possessions get tossed.
The furniture was the stuff that he left.
He actually left several items, like here's his remote.
This is not show and tell. Put that down.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
24-year-old Matthew Kearns is suing his former roommate, Shelley Baker, for the return of his belongings.
Order. All rise. Now, this case number 266 on the calendar, the matter of Kearns versus Baker.
Thank you.
Let's see.
Mr. Kearns, how long were you and Miss Baker roommates?
Approximately 6 months, Your Honor.
Did you move into her home?
No, Your Honor.
She moved into yours? Or you moved in together?
The way that it happened, Your Honor, was I rented a 2-bedroom condo with one of my friends at the time. About 3 months in, it was determined that we could no longer live together. The roommate at that time decided to just kind of pack up his stuff and move, leaving me to pay the full rent amount, which I could not do. The landlord gave me the ultimatum, basically, that I could either be evicted or pay the full amount, neither of which were acceptable to me. She came back slightly later and said, I have a friend, the friend was Miss Shelley Baker, who needs a place to stay, and if you allow Miss Baker to live with you, then you can resume paying the normal rent amount. So
why did you need a place to stay?
I was in between homes. I was actually homeless for about 7 days. I had collected about $1,900, and Denver is the rental market there is bad.
How do you
and
know
I needed
the
like $2,400, so I had moved all my stuff into storage, and then I was homeless for a few. And then Jerry is a good friend of mine, the landlord, who is my landlord also. And she said,
just a second.
to
So
move in.
the landlord is not only a friend of yours, but was your landlord in another
She
premise?
is my landlord right now, Your Honor.
Roommate?
Yes.
Mr. Kearns, at some point, things did not go well between you and the defendant. How much into her tenancy did that happen?
Very shortly thereafter.
As soon as she moved in?
I would say probably 2 weeks to a month after that, it was determined that we would not live together peacefully.
When did you start to live there?
January 2016.
Is that right?
Yes, that sounds about right.
And you started to look for a new place somewhere in February, sometime in February?
Very, very shortly after Miss Baker moved in.
Fine, okay. So your problem is that you claim that Miss Baker either kept or disposed of some of your property. That's what your lawsuit is about. And Miss Baker has a counterclaim. She says that you damaged her motorcycle. What was the date that you moved out?
I started moving on March 30th, continued moving on March 31st.
And you had paid March's rent?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. The agreement was that I would be out by midnight on April 1st, which I had planned to do. However, Ms. Baker decided to lock me out of the apartment.
How many trips did you make back and forth to get your property?
3 to 5, I would say.
Let's say 5.
Okay.
And you have a car?
Correct.
What items did you leave behind?
The largest ticket item is going to be my California King bed set.
California King?
Very large bed.
Oh, a king bed.
I had a large leather sofa, a small leather sofa, a matching leather ottoman, a dresser, an entertainment stand.
Just a second. Okay. And do you acknowledge that the furniture was the stuff that he left? He took...
Yes, he just left the heavier items, the bedroom items, basically. The couch and everything is in the garage. It's not part of the house. We have a garage also, and the couch, like he's got the cushions, I've got the couch, so it's all out in the garage. There is some of those items in the garage still.
Which items are in the garage?
The couch, the ottoman, the love seat, those 3 items.
What about the king bed?
That was removed when I got another roommate. So he was out March 31st. I don't know where April 1st came from. It's March 31st.
Fine. So the only thing that you disposed of was the king-size bed.
That's incorrect. He actually left several items. Like, here's his remote.
Listen to me. Some things that... This is not show and tell. Put that down.
No, but I mean...
Put it down. I'm talking. Pay attention.
Okay.
You say that you have everything with the exception of the king-size bed in your garage.
No, that's incorrect.
Then I misunderstood you. What do you have in the garage?
In the garage, I have miscellaneous kitchen items. I have...
Where is the sofa?
It's in the garage.
Well, where is the dresser?
That was removed.
Just a second. Shh. Just look at me.
Okay.
Bedroom. Where is the entertainment center?
That was removed when I had to get a new roommate.
When you say removed, what did you do with it?
Actually, at the instruction of the landlord.
No. You can't tell me what...
It was removed so I could allow room for a new roommate.
Miss Baker, I want you to listen to what I'm saying to you. Where did you remove it to?
Outside.
So you put the entertainment center...
Right.
What kind of an entertainment center was it?
I don't...
What kind of an entertainment center was it?
It was similar to the dresser. It was black metal with a diamond plate design on it, like the stuff that you see in garages.
Okay.
The entertainment stand is obviously much larger than the dresser. It's meant to accommodate, a TV as well as a stereo and some add-on items like DVD
Now, I
players.
want you to tell me, sir, you pay rent on the 1st of the month, correct? So you paid March's rent. And you made 5 trips back and forth to pack up. You had found a new apartment?
Correct.
And I would assume that by March 31st, you had made arrangements for a truck or a U-Haul to come back to pick up your large ticket items.
That is very correct.
And what happened when you got there with the U-Haul truck?
Miss Baker locked me out.
Now, what U-Haul place did you actually rent?
Of Green Mountain.
May I see, is that your contract with them?
It's an invoice.
I'd like to see it. Perfect. So I want you to tell me what happened when he arrived with the U-Haul.
He's under the interpretation that the door was locked. I'm actually deaf in one of my ears, Your Honor. I literally have a 75% loss in this ear. It's important what I'm going to say. So after he left, he didn't tell me he was getting a U-Haul that day. It was not vengeful. I actually fell asleep. He had been moving stuff for 2 days. I fell asleep, and I fell asleep on my good ear, so he must have knocked at the door. And I know, if it doesn't happen very often, but I won't hear an alarm if I fall asleep on that ear. And I do have the doctor record that shows like a 75%
I'm not
loss.
interested in your doctor's record. March 31st, had the locks been changed, Mr. Kearns?
No, Your Honor. What happened was there were 2 doors. There was a standard door and then like a glass screen door. I did not have the key to the glass screen door, and that is the one that Miss Baker locked.
Why? Oh. Why didn't you have a key to that screen door?
If I recall correctly, there was no outside lock. But regardless, the fact remains I was never given a key to that screen door. I did contact the landlord at this point. If I were
you can't, just a second.
Sure.
You can't tell me what the landlord informed you. Had you locked the screen door?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, you had absolutely no right to get rid of his stuff. He did present to me evidence that he had gotten a U-Haul on the 31st.
I would like to... Really, my full defense is I'm not the landlord. I only did what was instructed.
I don't care. You were the one who put the stuff outside.
After the landlord did her 10-day notice pursuant to the lease.
You were the one who put the stuff outside.
At the instruction of the landlord,
I
Your
don't
Honor.
know that. Is the landlord here?
I can show that I rented the space right afterwards.
I don't care.
Or that she did.
I don't care.
Okay. I did remove the stuff because I needed to get another roommate at the instruction of the landlord. Okay.
I know you keep saying it, but I'm totally ignoring it.
I'm not the landlord.
I'm totally
I wasn't even his roommate.
Listen to me. I'm totally ignoring it.
I know that.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He purposely damaged my Harley Davidson, and I have the estimate. That's all I'm interested in.
I have an email with the landlord that states I'm just saying that states
I don't want you to just say. I want you to tell me about the Harley.
And later today,
the plaintiff knew that there was cigarette smoke in the house.
What you said to him was, as an accommodation,
yes,
we will smoke outside.
Yeah, we'll limit the smoking.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Matthew Kearns says his former roommate, Shelley Baker, owes for the return of his belongings. Shelley is countersuing for property damage.
Now, all I want is the bills for the furniture that you are claiming is worth $4,000. Okay, and where did you purchase the sofa from, sir?
The sofas were a gift from my mother.
Okay. Did you replace them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have the bills for replacing them?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see them. They looked as if they were perfectly reasonable condition. Okay, great. The entertainment center, you didn't replace it, I assume.
The entertainment center was replaced. That is included in there.
In the $1,200?
Yes, from the
In the
American
$1,200.
Furniture, yes,
All right, that comes to $2,509. Both of those items, including the bed, the replacing of the bed.
I still have the couch and the love seat and the ottoman of that.
Where are they?
They're in the garage.
Except he replaced them.
He never came back to get his stuff.
$2,509. You can get briefly to your alleged counterclaim. Okay. You want to tell me what you're suing him for?
Well, Your Honor, the reason he was evicted to start with, I would like to present this supplemental report. It's important. I was scared for my life.
Listen to me carefully.
How do I present this report to you?
Your counterclaim is that he purposely damaged my Harley Davidson, and I have the estimate. That's all I'm interested in.
Okay.
Tell me when he did that and under what
In the 2 days that he did the 5 trips back and forth, and I allowed, he was in there and had free will. He told me he would be back with the U-Haul on his next day off, and I have an email with the landlord that states I'm just saying that states
I don't want you to just say. I want you to tell me about the Harley.
I'm going to, Your Honor. In between the 2 days that he had moved and the next day off, I went out to the garage, and every single one of my boxes was dumped upside down in the garage. All my personal pictures, all my antique dolls, all of my electronics had been pushed off the table. It was in complete shambles. And I go, oh my God, he literally trashed all of my stuff. And at that point, I became very fearful. and I told him that he needed
Would
to
you
get
tell me about the Harley, please?
Yep. He told me that he needed to get a civil assist, is what I told him after he trashed my stuff. The Harley was ruined.
Objection, Your Honor.
Just a second.
See?
All I want to know is about the Harley, because that's what's here in your counterclaim.
There was damage, Your Honor, to my Harley Davidson.
Show me. And the estimate for repair.
I don't have either one of those.
Well,
Here's
then
the
your
estimate
counterclaim's
for repair.
dismissed.
I apologize.
Just stay cool.
Gosh, I don't know. Thank you.
I'm telling you.
Okay, right on. Thank you. And I also have a text thing that shows that Matt did dump my stuff out by his words in the text.
I would like to see photographs of the Harley.
Okay. Here you go. I didn't do it. I stopped myself. That is not the damage, Your Honor. I don't have that piece of paper in front of me.
Well, that's all I'm interested in seeing.
Right there's the estimate that will tell you, I guess.
The counterclaim's dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff to the amount of $2,509. We're done.
Wow.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The landlord asked me to get him out.
Judgment was fair today.
I fell asleep on my good ear.
She locked the glass door.
I did not hear the door knock. He did not tell me that he was getting a U-Haul that day and moving out, and I fell asleep.
For at least another good 5-10 years, I think I'll be living by myself only.
And now, the next case.
Corey, step forward.
John Cuevas is suing his former landlord, David Cacciatore, for the return of his rent and security deposit.
Do you live with him?
Yes.
Great, stand up. Tell me your last name.
McRory.
How long have you lived with Mr. Cacciatore?
Almost 3 years.
Do you smoke?
Yes.
Does Mr. Cacciatore smoke?
Yes.
Now you can sit. Mr. Cuevas, you rented a room in the house that Mr. Cacciatore shares with Miss McRory.
Yes.
You gave them $1,200 in both rent and security.
Yes, ma'am.
And you moved in on what date?
Moved in on the 21st.
Of what month?
August.
Of this year?
Yes.
Did you see the room advertised on the internet?
Yes. Craigslist.
Where had you lived previous to that?
I lived with my girlfriend, but she had to move because of the fact that her brother died of cancer. She had to move in with her mother. Then I was looking for a place, and I seen that, and since I was unemployed at the time, I checked out Craigslist, and I found it said $500. And when I pulled up, it went up $100 because I guess it was because of my car, you know.
So you saw the room that they were renting?
Yes.
Did you have any other conversation with them about the room?
No, Your Honor.
You moved out on the 22nd.
The next day, yes.
Tell me why you moved out.
Well, we had an agreement to walk outside.
So you were aware that they smoked?
Right.
Who did you have the conversation with about smoking outside?
With David.
That'd be me, Your Honor.
With him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did he tell you also that his girlfriend smoked?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
Said that they would make it accommodate for me to, you know, that they'll smoke outside from now on, which was crock-a-donkey dust.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He doesn't look like the kind of man that would take his TV, computer, clothes, hanging them up in the closet, getting it all ready, and then the next day say, well, you know what? I would like to do this all over again.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Cuevas says his former landlord, David Cacciatore, broke his promise not to smoke in the house. He is suing for the return of his rent and security deposit.
Okay, so when you moved in your things, tell me what you moved in, Mr. Cuevas. You moved.
I moved in my clothes, my computers,
Did you
my
set
TV.
up the computers?
I didn't get to.
Did you set up the TV?
Yes.
So your clothes, your TV, your computer, anything else?
Everything
Everything that you had?
I got
in your
everything. The next day, I got everything out.
But I'm talking about what you moved in. Clothes, computer, and TV. Anything else?
That overwhelming smoke.
Did you speak to Mr. Cacciatore about it?
Yes.
What did he say?
Said he would make a letter for his in-laws that happened to be there. He said they were just going to be there for a couple of days, but, you know, I didn't think that was going to happen.
Just a second. Did his in-laws smoke?
Yes, they did. Like chimneys.
Okay. Now, Mr. Cacciatore, what Mr. Cuevas wants is he wants his money back.
I understand, Your Honor.
And clearly, you had a conversation with him, because I read your answer. Clearly, you had a conversation with him about smoking.
Yeah, he knew I smoked prior.
Just a second.
Sure.
Clearly, you had a conversation with him about smoking.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's sort of an odd thing to have a conversation about unless it was important to you. Do you smoke?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Your girlfriend smoke? Yes, she does. And if it's offensive to you in the house, then you don't rent the room.
Exactly.
Unless some assurance has been made to you that the smoking will be outside.
I agree 100%. Basically, the plaintiff knew that there was cigarette smoke in the house. While we were writing up the agreement, the contract, and so forth, I was actually smoking.
No, I understand that. He
yes.
said to me that he knew that you smoked.
Yeah.
That what you said to him was, as an accommodation,
yes,
we will smoke outside.
Yeah, we'll limit the smoking.
Just smoking. When you're home, you'll go outside if you're going to smoke.
Correct, Your Honor.
And he says that didn't happen when he moved in. You had your in-laws over, and they were smoking.
Well, my in-laws, they lived in the living room area at the time being because they were only there till their house got built, and they actually set up a little ashtray outside. There's a patio that leads right out their door, and they were smoking outside.
He gets his money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, he made it clear to you what his needs were. You assured him that his needs would be met. He moved his property. I mean, he doesn't look. You haven't been psychiatrically hospitalized in the past 6 months, have you, Mr. Cuevas?
No, Your Honor.
You're not on any psychotropic medication, are you, Mr.
No,
Cuevas?
Your Honor. I'm not.
You're not receiving any disability for
No,
any
Your Honor.
psychiatric
No.
illness? You see, he doesn't look like the kind of man that would spend hours loading his stuff into his car, picking up his TV, undoing his computer, taking his clothes, taking his TV, computer, clothes, hanging them up in the closet, getting it all ready, and then the next day you say, well, you know what? Clothes out of the closet, unplug the TV from the wall, schlep it out to my car. Unless you told him that he, in effect, would not be bothered by your smoke. Do you understand?
I understand completely.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,200. We're done.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She was supposed to fix the car. Did you move the car to the street?
Yes, when I was done fixing it.
And the city took it away.
It was not operable. I have pictures right here where you took every part out of my car.
Judge Judy.
The plaintiff knew there was cigarette smoke in the house.
They were lighting up like chimneys.
I told him I would limit the cigarette smoke in the house, which was done.
It didn't happen.
He said, we're going to become best buds. I'm going to be your brother.
We were going to go to karaoke together, you know.
Searching for his money back.
Well, I'm going to be aware of Craigslist. That's not going to happen no more.
A mother's sudden cross-country move.
You left the state of Florida.
Yes.
To go to what state?
Virginia.
So you refused to bring the child back from the state of Virginia.
Will this dad ever see his daughter again?
You list a whole lot of things that portray the defendant as a very bad person.
He was in prison for 5 years.
You don't have the right to take the child away.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich is suing the father of her child, Casey Fand, for the return of her belongings.
Order. All rise. It's case number 217 on the calendar, the matter of Leftwich versus Fand. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Leftwich, you and the defendant have a child together, and you did live together for a period of time.
Yes.
It is your claim that the defendant removed your property without your permission from an apartment that you had shared, but he had vacated.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that his name was on the lease to the apartment, that you had, in effect, left the apartment, that you were being evicted for non-payment of rent, I assume. He went into the apartment to secure the property that belonged to him and to his daughter. They have a daughter together.
Yes, Your Honor.
He has a counterclaim, and his counterclaim says that you filed 2 applications for orders of protection against him, both of which were false, both of which were dismissed and caused him to incur certain legal fees, all in an attempt to have him removed from his daughter's life. So that's what the case is about. He has a counterclaim.
And also daycare.
Care expenses. You're suing for daycare expenses for your child?
Her half. I paid all of it.
Well, that's all right. You could pay all of it.
Okay.
You can pay all of it. It's your child. If she takes the child out to a restaurant and buys a hamburger, you think that she should be able to charge you for half of that for your child?
It depends on who's paying for the dinner that night.
That's why we don't get messed up in those things. I would assume that right now, how old is your daughter?
18 months.
That your daughter is living with her mother?
No, ma'am.
She's living with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there an order of custody that gives you
Yes,
her to
Your
live with
Honor.
you? I'd like to see that. And along with the order of custody, did the court make an order of support against her mother?
Not yet, Your Honor.
The court should, and I assume that the court will make an order of support against the non-custodial parent. And if you're going to be the custodial parent, Miss Lefwich will pay support for her daughter.
Your
What?
Honor, he's actually going to pay me support. And
For what?
It's 50-50 custody in the state of Florida.
Well, if it's 50-50 custody, why is he paying you support?
Because I make less than him.
I'd like to see the order. Was there an order entered subsequently to the 2nd of August, 2016?
There isn't.
We have the final judgment August 10th.
August 10th. I'd like to see that.
And Mr. Fan, even though we've had the final judgment for 50-50 custody, he refuses to actually let me have my half with the child. So
Did you remove the child from the jurisdiction of Florida? Did you attempt to remove the child from the jurisdiction of Florida?
No.
The two of you were living in Florida.
Yes.
The
Yes,
child.
ma'am.
Okay, let's get down to
Yes.
it. The two of you were living in Florida.
Yes.
The child was born in Florida.
That's correct.
And there came a time when you left the state of Florida.
Yes.
On what date did you leave the state of Florida?
I left April 19th on the bus.
April 19th, 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
You left to go to what state?
Virginia.
When you arrived in Virginia, you had family in Virginia.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Who was in Virginia?
My parents, my siblings, my grandmother, she was in the
Parents,
hospital.
siblings, grandma. Did you, at that time, when you were visiting with your family, because that's what you say you were doing, correct?
Yes.
Did you file any legal action in the state of Virginia?
Not at that time.
Between April 19th, 2016 and August 2nd, did you file any action? Virginia.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you filed and on what date.
I filed an injunction, a protective order injunction.
You filed for a protective order.
Yes,
on what
ma'am.
date?
That would have been the end of June 29th.
Just a second. So were you in Virginia the months of April, May, and June? Pay careful
Yes,
attention.
ma'am.
So you never came back to the state of Florida in the months of April, May, and June?
No, that's incorrect.
Well, did you come back?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
We had a court date on May 20th.
May 20th, and that
Yes.
was an action in the state of Florida.
Yes, ma'am.
Brought by?
Casey.
Brought by the defendant, and that was for the return of the child from the state of Virginia to the state of Florida, to the home state. Listen, I did family court work for a long time. So you refused to bring the child back from the state of Virginia. He filed in the state of Florida an order directing you to bring the child home to the child's home state. And after you received that, you filed an injunction in the state of Virginia. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct, Your Honor, but I was not found, guilty.
I didn't ask you whether you were found guilty. I didn't ask you if you were found guilty of anything. I'm on this block.
Yes.
So after there was an order in the state of Florida for you to return the child to the state of Florida, you went back to Virginia because
Right.
you said you were there, and you filed for an order precluding him from having, I'm going to read it, from having contact with the child. Is that right?
And my cat.
I don't care about your cat. Now, I see that you list a whole lot of things dating back to November 15th that portray the defendant as a very bad person. Just a second. What I want to know is, and this was filed on the 28th day of June, after the court in Florida ordered you to return to Florida with the child. That would be a yes or a no?
I'm not sure which document
do you
you're
have an
looking at.
order
Yes, Your
from
Honor.
the state of Florida or a court date? You filed, I assume, with your family, you went to see a lawyer in Virginia.
Your Honor.
Just listen to me. I'm talking. I assume you went to see a lawyer in the state. So on the 23rd of May, the court granted the father's order that neither one of you could remove the child from Palm Beach County.
That's correct.
And then, despite that order, you did, in fact, remove the child from Palm Beach County and went back to Virginia, where you filed on the 28th of June.
Yes, ma'am.
For an order precluding him from coming near you, the child, anything.
Your Honor, I
would have... Just a second. I'm not getting into that.
Okay.
I want to know what the judge in Virginia ultimately did with this protective order. Did the judge grant you a protective order or dismiss this case?
He granted the protective order for me.
Permanent. Based upon these allegations, if I were a family court judge, I would grant you ex parte, without him being there, a temporary order of protection.
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
Temporary order of protection, just based upon the terrible allegations that you make here. The judge in Virginia, I don't see anywhere around here that anybody made the judge in Virginia aware, precluding you from removing the child from Palm Beach County. I don't see anything in here about that. You understand where I'm going?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I ultimately want to know, I'll get to you in a minute. It looks like there is some semblance of knowledge here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to know what the court in Virginia ultimately did with your protective order. Did you have a trial?
No, ma'am. He did not get the protective order in Florida.
What happened with this protective order?
I didn't even go because of the paternity.
So it was dismissed?
Yeah, I didn't go.
So it was dismissed?
Because I was in Florida.
So it was dismissed?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your daughter's stuff was there.
My cat was in the apartment.
I don't want to hear about your cat, because any idiot that goes away for 3 months and leaves a cat in the apartment, what arrangements did you make him with home with?
I was gone for like a week.
I don't care.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich says the father of her child, Casey Fand, stole her belongings and sold them. Casey is countersuing for child...
Did you ever file a protective order against him in the state of Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
It would have been November 29th.
November 29th?
Of 2015.
I would like to see that.
I don't have a copy with me.
November 25th.
I didn't know that we were here for all the paternity. I was here for my stuff. So...
You mean you were never served with a copy of his counterclaim?
No, ma'am.
Did you serve her with a copy of your counterclaim
Yes,
for legal
ma'am.
expenses? I'd like to see a copy of that.
That wasn't even in his counterclaim.
That actually just came in the mail the day I left.
I didn't even...
And it was signed for by her roommate. I do not have, this is the order that I did with the police receipt for getting it served, but that order actually came in the mail the day I left to come here.
On what date did you leave Florida?
Yesterday.
And you received no...
My roommate signed for it. I never got it. I have no idea what his counterclaim is even. I don't...
So if you were never served with a copy of his counterclaim, I'm not going to hear it today.
I didn't.
I'm not going to hear his counterclaim today. He's free to refile that in Palm Beach County. Great. Okay. Now, what you're asking for is a return of your property. Now, both of you were on the lease of this apartment, I assume. You left the apartment on April 19th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like you to show me proof of rent for April, May, and June in the apartment.
I have January, February. He paid March.
I'm talking about April, May, and June. When you left the apartment, his
Right.
name is on the lease, as well as yours. But you were living there.
Your
Now,
Honor, the lease was up August 2015. So the lease had ran out, so I was on month to month.
Great. So you were living there. He had moved out in March?
In September.
In September.
2015.
Okay, so he moved out in September.
That's correct, right after the lease was up.
Fine, and you stayed with the child?
I did.
I would like to see proof that you paid rent when you were in Virginia.
I was with my parents.
So is what you're telling me, nobody paid rent?
No.
Is what you said, yes, that is correct, nobody paid rent?
No, ma'am.
Who paid the rent?
For April, May, and June? Nobody paid April, May, and June because I was told by the landlord.
No, you can't tell me what the landlord told you.
Oh, okay.
Judge.
Okay.
So, listen to me. In Virginia, then the landlord clearly was going to evict you, which is what he says.
Mm-hmm.
And since his name had been on the lease, that's when he went into the apartment.
That's incorrect.
Show me.
This was the eviction notice that the landlord sent to me.
May I see
that
it,
was dated April 27th.
I'd like to see it.
I had just
a
gotten...
second. Just a second. Okay. Well, the end of April, they had not received any check for rent from you.
Correct.
Your stuff was there. Just a second. Your stuff was there.
That's correct.
Your daughter's stuff was there.
My cat was in the apartment.
Oh, well, listen to me. I don't want to hear about your cat. Because any idiot that goes away for 3 months and leaves a cat in the apartment...
That was clearly not my... That was clearly
You left
not
April
what I was
19th.
doing.
What arrangements did you make?
I was only supposed to be gone for like a week, which I left a key with my neighbor. She was an elder lady. She had my telephone number.
You were gone for April, May,
but
and
I was
June.
Only supposed to be gone for about 2 weeks.
I don't care. First it was a week, now I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You made this baby, and you didn't make this baby with the idea of driving...
This man put me through living
Just a
hell.
second. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich claims the father of her child, Casey Fand, stole her belongings and sold them.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I've always went a month without paying rent, and the landlord would let me go, like, for instance, January, I went a whole month without paying rent.
Listen to me. I have it. The landlord demanded possession of the property.
Yeah.
Because you weren't paying rent. That was in April. You didn't pay in May, and you didn't pay in June.
Right.
Okay. Now, when you were living together, and you lived together in this apartment for about 2 years, did you live together in this apartment for about 2 years?
No, ma'am.
How long did you live together in this apartment?
1 year.
1 year. Did you live together in another place prior to that?
My place, yes.
You lived in your place?
Yes, ma'am.
When you moved from your place into this apartment, did you take your furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which furniture did you take?
Mattress.
Your mattress?
Dressers, things like that.
No. Don't say dressers. I want you to tell me exactly what you took from your apartment into this new place.
Okay. Rugs, bed.
Okay, what else?
I guess pots,
What else?
chairs. What kind of bed?
Oh, is it a bed that the two of you used?
Yes,
The two of you used that bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was your bed?
Right.
Okay. Shh, just a second. So I'm not interested in the things that were purchased subsequently. Child's things that were purchased subsequently. According to you, he makes more money than you did. So unless you can establish that you personally bought those things for your daughter.
I can, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
He was in prison for 5 years.
Go ahead.
While I was out pretty much driving a bus.
Just listen to me. You said you were living together in this apartment for a year.
Yes.
If you were living in this apartment for a year together, he left in September of 2015. But your daughter was born, and your daughter was living in the apartment with you.
That is correct.
That is correct. So now you're going to show me proof that during that period of time when you moved into this apartment, according to you, with a bed and some rugs, pots and pans. I don't get into pots and pans. Okay? So I want to see proof that you, because your complaint is that aside from this bed, which I will ask him about, I want to see proof that you personally purchased the child's furniture and anything else that you're claiming.
Your Honor, I can't. We had a 2-drawer file in our room. He took the top file with all of our receipts, bank accountments, and things like that.
You take this up with the family court judge. Your case is dismissed. We understand each other? take it up with the family court judge. When the family court judge issues an order of support, whoever the order of support is going to be entered against. But I'm going to suggest this to the two of you. You've wisely or unwisely made a child together. You don't have the right to take the child away from the other parent. He would not have that right to take the child away from you. That's what the court said to you. It said you can't remove the child from the child's home state. That's what the child said. And Florida is the home state, and Florida will make an order of custody because that's reasonable. Otherwise, the person who grabs the child first removes the child to another jurisdiction, and then you've got to go find them. That's why the states cooperate with each other in directing that the children be returned to their home state. I assume that the lawyer explained that to you. And if the lawyer didn't explain that to you, I'm explaining it to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the order of custody is going to be resolved. The only thing that's going to have to be addressed is who's going to pay some regular, consistent timetable so this child doesn't become a pawn. This baby's only 18 months old. Right now, she doesn't go to school, but she will. And then it's going to have to be a more sensible order because unless the two of you can cooperate with each other, an order of joint custody is going to be impossible. So I'm going to suggest that you made this baby and you didn't make this baby with the idea of driving her mad.
She did to me, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this man put me through living
Just a second.
hell. I am not. Don't talk to me no more. I'm done.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I do.
You have a child,
Right.
whether you like each other or not. That's totally irrelevant to courts, whether you like each other or not. But you're supposed to be responsible enough.
Absolutely.
Responsible enough to...
Your Honor, he put the child on
I'm done.
Rick.
I'm done.
Like, I'm...
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I went through a whole year of living hell with this man.
I left her because of all of her lies.
I only went up to visit, and he had me evicted from my apartment.
She threatened me every month with leaving with the baby, which is why I hired an attorney in the first place.
I want this man to leave me alone. I am done. Today, that was it.
This is all about the child right now, and that's my #1 concern.
Worked with cars. I'm more of a tomboy.
A stay-at-home mom's side business.
She was supposed to fix the car, and you promised to pay her for parts and labor.
But
she didn't give you any money. You moved it to the street, and the city took it away.
Is their situation beyond repair?
Did you move the car to the street?
Yes, when I was done fixing it.
It was not operable. I have pictures right here where you took every part out of my car.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Lori Danielson is suing Sarah Kolosky for the value of her car and impound fees.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 249 on the calendar in the matter of Danielson versus Kolosky.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Danielson, how do you know Miss Kolosky?
My best girlfriend, her mother, and I've known each other for 43 years.
And what kind of work do you do for a living?
I'm a stay-at-home mother.
How do you support yourself?
My significant other, he pays all the bills. He has a good job, but he's always gone, so it's better for me to stay home.
What do you know about being a mechanic?
I've always worked with cars. I'm more of a tomboy, and cars, and it just became a love of mine.
So, Miss Danielson, you bought a used car, a 20-year-old car. You bought it off a lot. According to your complaint, you spent $2,200 on the car.
Correct.
You did that in May of this year, and shortly thereafter, the car overheated and was no longer drivable, according to you. So, according to your complaint, you gave the car to Miss Kolosky. When the car stopped running, she was supposed to fix the car, and you promised to pay her for parts and labor. On what date did you have the car towed to her house?
I believe it was June 28th when she picked me up from my house, went out to the dealership, and towed it from there.
Now, did Miss Kolosky tow the car back to her house, or did you have a towing company do it?
Nope. She said that somebody owed her a good deed, so they got the flatbed and they towed it for nothing from my house to the dealership and back to her house.
Okay. Now, what your complaint is as follows. At some point, your car was towed because it was deemed abandoned. It was on the street.
Correct.
And you believe that that's Miss Kolatsky's fault, and you weren't able to get the car out of...
Actually, Your Honor, I have it from the city that I had until August 4th to collect the car. I was there on August 1st, letting her know I would be on or...
Just a second, I don't care.
Okay.
Now, did you have the car on the street or on your property?
It was still on my
property.
Until the 1st, in which I had let her know that it had to be removed.
Just a second. Until August 1st.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
if it was on your property, who gave you notice that the car had to be moved?
It was actually a city violation. It was an ordinance. Vehicles that are not registered to that property can only remain on there within 48 hours. And so I tried to get an extension as much as possible. I actually have photos of the vehicle on my property as well.
Don't show me photos.
Yes.
Listen to what I want.
I'm sorry.
I want the letter from the city indicating you had to have the car moved.
Yes, ma'am. That is obvious.
I don't want all of this. I want the letter from the city that
Here,
said...
there's actually 3 of them.
Great. I'll see all
Okay, that's
3.
what I was going to provide. That's the first one. Here's the second one. And then here's the third one. And then I do also have this.
Okay, so you got your first notification when they conducted an inspection of your property, and that was on July the 18th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so one of your neighbors must have complained to the city that this old car was someplace.
Actually, the whole entire neighborhood was kind of being swept. It was just kind of a cleanup thing, yes.
You were first noticed for this on July 20th.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want you to show me the communication that you had indicating that the car had to be moved by July 27th, because your first date was July 22nd. Then they gave you an extension, evidently, of that.
Yes, and then I do also have this as well.
Okay, listen to what I want.
Yes.
Put the paper down.
Okay.
What I want is the communication between you and the plaintiff indicating that the car had to be moved. Based on the first one.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, I do not have any text messages. My phone, my cell phone, actually the hard drive crashed, and I just purchased one 2 days ago.
Okay, everybody always has that problem.
That's definitely understandable.
Now, when was the first time that you were advised that the car had to be moved?
August 1st.
Was the first communication you had?
First communication that I had to get it out of there, $700, otherwise she would tow my car within 2 hours, and I have it on a text message.
I'd like to...
Ma'am, may I add something?
No.
I have 70 on here, so I gotta find the right one.
She has the paperwork prior to that date saying...
No, I do not.
It's on the very top. She had said that she
Here's the one I
had the
received.
same exact paperwork.
I'd like to see it.
That's what
She
I got.
has it right there. And that's one I personally gave to her, ma'am, which is prior to that
Miss
date.
Danielson, listen to me very carefully.
Yes.
Are you listening? First time you were notified by the defendant that there was a problem with the car being on her property was on what date?
August 1st.
Ma'am, the date on there, obvious, it does of course say...
Show me.
The one she just provided with you, it says the 27th. The actual date was the 27th.
Though that says that this was to, I assume, your boyfriend.
Yes.
This doesn't say it went to her. Do you have proof that it went to her as well? Had you registered the car? Did the car have plates? Did the car have some mechanism of identification so that you could be sent a notice that the car had to be moved?
Yeah, I got the title. It was in my name, everything.
Well, are you telling me that you didn't get a notification from Brooklyn Park?
No, I did not. I got that copy from Sarah stating I had till the 4th to get it off of her property.
Ma'am.
And that was the first time I heard it.
Okay, now.
Yes.
Now I want you to show me what proof you have that she was notified before August 1st.
All I have as far as that is the fact that I provided her with one of my papers that said that the vehicle had to be removed by the 1st. And she had even came over to my house on the 28th promising to pay me some of the money for the work that I have done so I can ensure the vehicle was off my property by the 1st.
By the 4th.
Oh, just a second. So what you're telling me is that you tried to get some payment, she didn't give you any money.
No.
And then you moved the car to the street?
No, ma'am.
Well, did you move the car to the street?
Yes, when I was done fixing it.
You moved it to the street?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
The 1st.
And on the 1st, they came and put...
I have
on
pictures.
Just a second.
Okay.
They came and took the car.
I actually have a police report in regards to this, where they actually had attempted to contact her. The city of Brooklyn Park actually removed it.
I would like to see it. From your property or
No,
from the
ma'am,
street?
from the street.
Okay, so you moved it to the street. Oh, that's what I said.
Yes, ma'am.
You moved it to the street, and the city took it away.
On the 4th, yes, ma'am. On the 1st, I
Would you
put
just-
it to the street.
It's right there. Whoops.
It was impounded on the 3rd.
Yes.
Okay, and it was on the street. Did you tow the car to the street or move it to the street?
I drove it once it was operable.
It was not operable. I have it. Pictures right here where you took every part out of my car.
Yes, those pictures were actually taken, I believe, on the 28th
There's
when
no
she had
such
came to
word.
my residence.
There's no such word.
I'm
They were
sorry.
taken. You moved the car to the street.
Yes.
On the 1st of August. When you moved the car to the street, did you take out any parts that you had put in which had not been paid for by the plaintiff?
No, ma'am.
So the car was capable of being started and moved?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe you. How much money had you invested in the car?
Approximately $200.
And you went to the plaintiff at the end of July and asked her for some money?
I had been asking since the beginning.
You went to her, according to you, on the 28th and asked her for some money. That's what you told me a moment ago.
Yes, ma'am, when
What
she
did
had
she
came
say?
to my home.
I thought you said you went to her home.
No, ma'am. She actually got a ride from an elderly lady, and she came to my home to review exactly what I had done and observed everything, and she was ecstatic.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to finish this very quickly. We're going to either finish it painlessly or painfully.
Yes, ma'am.
So just answer my questions.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They told her not to drive the vehicle unless the coolant was full. She did not do that. That was the reason why her engine seized up, was because of her negligence.
Is that true?
That's true.
That you didn't put coolant in the car?
No.
And later today,
You let your dog go over to sniff her dog.
I let the dog approach.
Your dog and bit your dog on the neck.
That's correct.
And that's the story.
Correct.
Good. Just a second.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Laurie Danielson says Sarah Kolaski caused her car to be impounded and destroyed. Sarah is countersuing for parts, labor, and tow rental fees.
Now, she came to your house. Did she bring any money with her?
She was supposed to bring $300.
Did she
ma'am.
bring any
No.
money with her? The
No, ma'am.
answer is no. From the date she brought you the car on June 28th until August 1st, had she given you any money?
She had continuously promised, but no, ma'am.
The answer is no. And my question to you is, were you supposed to give her money as her work progressed so that she could buy parts and pay for her labor?
I told her that I would give her the money once I saw the itemized bill, and she never showed me an itemized bill. She showed me a picture of a text of a total bill only, and I asked her for the itemized bill so I could pay for the parts. And I never was shown an itemized bill.
What about her labor?
We hadn't come up to a conclusion yet of how much. All I did was get a text message on August 1st saying I owe $700. Otherwise, within 2 hours, the car would be towed.
Ma'am, if you were able to scroll through that.
I'm not listening to you.
And that she was supposed to give
I'm
us
not
money.
listening to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this says you pushed it in the street.
No, ma'am.
That's on July 31st. Hard to see, but I pushed it in the street, and then you say, laugh out loud, and then there's some curse word.
Yes.
That's what it says.
Yes.
Not drove it in the street, you pushed it in the street.
Yes. But on the 1st, it was operable. I removed it off my property because I had a siphoning issue in my neighborhood, and they had actually gotten my vehicle 3 different times since her vehicle was on my property, and that's an additional reason why I wanted it off so bad.
I understand.
Because,
I understand your problem.
Yes, ma'am.
But you have a responsibility once the car is on your property to safeguard it, because that's what you said you would do. And now you maybe were frustrated because you didn't get any money from her on the 31st, and you were going to start to be fined $200 a day for every day that the car remained on the property, because that's what it says in here.
Yes, ma'am.
But you're really responsible for her car getting towed.
I did let her know that it was off my property.
Show me.
It just said on the 31st, the vehicle was not on my property. So she knew it was no longer on my property.
So
she would have to find a way to bring it home.
Okay, great. How much did you pay for the car?
I think you have it up there.
It's $2,200.
Ma'am, do you
Correct.
mind if I add something? Unfortunately, Judah heard and drive the vehicle because the radiator was bad. They told her not to drive the vehicle unless the coolant was full. She did not do that. That was the reason why her engine seized up, was because of her negligence. They offered her $500. That's all her vehicle was worth to them at
Who
that
offered
point in
her
time.
$500?
The dealership, for a trade-in value.
Is that true?
That's true.
That you didn't put coolant in the car?
No, that is not true. The coolant was filled. I still have the coolant in my...
Is it true that the dealership said that they were prepared to give you $500 trade-in for the car?
Correct, if I could buy another car, but I had no money because I took a loan out on this one that I'm still paying for that I don't have car of.
Okay, you could return this to her, please. Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I say friendly, and people will say, oh, yes, they're very friendly. And I'm looking at the tail is down, and I can see their canines. And I say, no, not friendly enough for me, and I keep walking. But you let your dog go up to her dog. Why should she be responsible for that?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Laurie Danielson says Sarah Kolaski caused her car to be impounded and destroyed. Sarah is countersuing for parts, labor, and tow rental fees.
I have to assess the value of the car. I brought it to her, it was not working. So it's no longer worth $2,200. I don't know what it's worth. If the dealership offered you $500, maybe that's what it's worth. It's certainly not worth what you paid for it, because when you paid for it, you drove it off the lot, correct?
Correct.
And in order to get it to her house, she had to come and tow it. Also correct. So it was not drivable. So it was really worth actually nothing at that point, except the $500 that the dealership offered to give to you.
That's fine. I just wanted to show you these pictures.
I don't want to see any pictures.
That's fine.
I don't want to see any
I also
pictures.
have a KBB of her value of the vehicle.
Which is what?
Her vehicle was only worth approximately $344.
Okay, well, they offered her $500 for it. That's what it's worth. Okay, now, I don't know what they're coming after you for. They probably auctioned off the car for parts or whatever they did, but you're entitled to $500. Okay, and you're not entitled to take her car and push it onto the street, because when you take the responsibility of a car, you have to maintain its safety. And if you had towed it back to her house and said, now it's on your property and I'm going to sue you for my parts and labor, for whatever you put into the car, you could do that.
Yes,
but you can't take a car and push it out on the street.
But it had to be removed unless I was going to be financially responsible.
For the amount of $500.
Ma'am, I spent money on her vehicle.
You shouldn't have pushed it out on the street.
Oh my God, whatever.
Parties are excused and they step off.
I believe that since I spent money and I spent time rebuilding
good deals on parts and everything.
I should have been reimbursed. I spent a whole month working on her car.
And I told her either way, one way or another, I make sure that she got...
When I have kids to worry about, I took time out of my life for her car, and I just think it's ridiculous.
Money for her labor and her time.
Never give family favors.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Carroll versus Farr. Step forward.
Fiona Carroll is suing fellow dog owner Linda Farr for vet bills resulting from a dog attack during a hike.
Mr. Carroll, were you in fact holding the leash on your dog?
Yes, I was, ma'am.
Then why don't you step over here? You and your wife were walking your dog on a leash. The defendant was sitting on a stoop.
I was standing, and I had my two dogs, one sitting and one laying down next to me.
Okay, so you were standing?
I was standing.
Were you in front of your house?
We were on a fire road, and I have a picture of the fire road that we were standing on.
I'd like to take a look at it. And your dogs were both leashed?
Yes.
You were standing because you were letting his dog pass?
Correct. I was coming out of the canyon from a hike with my dogs, and they were coming down the fire road.
Okay, so you stopped?
Is
that correct?
It is correct.
Okay, so she stopped.
Correct.
And you were walking. Your dog went over to, according to your wife, to sniff one of their dogs.
Yeah, I didn't...
Is that what happened?
Exactly what happened. I didn't feel any... She didn't make any commands or anything, or...
I don't care what you feel. It's not important to me. You let your dog go over to sniff her dog.
Exactly. I let the dog approach her dogs.
Right. And one of her dogs lunged at your dog and bit your dog on the neck.
That's correct.
And that's the story.
Correct.
Good. Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Ms. Farr is not responsible for your vet bills, Both dogs were leashed. She knew enough to stop and let you pass for whatever reason. She held her dogs. There was no language between the two of you.
No, she was having a conversation with my wife. She didn't give me any warnings or anything.
She doesn't have to give you a warning.
That her dogs...
She doesn't have to give you a warning. Before you let your dog go up to sniff her dog, you're supposed to say, friendly.
The dogs had played together
just
before.
Just a second.
So.
If they played together before, then she certainly had no played before. But before I have a little dog. And she's very playful. And when she passes another dog, I pull her back and I say, friendly. And sometimes people will say, oh, yes, they're very friendly. And I'm looking at the tail is down, and I can see their canines. And I say, no, not friendly enough for me. And I keep walking. But you let your dog go up to her dog. Why should she be responsible for that?
Her dog lunged. She was standing here, and from the side of her all the way over. Our dog was not close enough to hurt her. He had the dog on the leash.
No. What he said to me, madam, was, and that's what it says in the complaint, that your dog went over to sniff.
Move towards.
Yeah, your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The judge's patience is wearing thin.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
Your Honor, she told me she bought... Sorry.
I'm having too much joy here.
Okay.
Next Judge Judy.
I think it was a good decision, and my dogs did nothing except what I asked them to do, which was to sit next to me and wait till they passed.
Our dog moved towards her dog, and her dog
Lunged at my dog towards me, and that's when my dog jumped up to protect me.
ripped a huge hole out of our dog's chest.
I would feel bad if any dog gets injured, because I love all dogs, so for that reason, yes, but I wasn't responsible for that.
And I was worried if it was a small child, what if that child had reached out towards her dog? It could have been a horrible situation.
My dog's around children all the time, grandchildren, all that. My dog is completely safe.
He's okay. You know, it took 3 months for it to heal, but he's okay now.
I'm glad her dog's doing better, and I wish them all the best.
A handyman's bargain remodel.
You hired him for $100.
Yes.
And you didn't like the work he did. Surprise.
But there was more this mom wasn't happy with.
You thought he was inappropriate with your daughter.
She said he lifted his shirt and showed me gunshot wounds.
And this ex-con gets concerned.
She took out a restraining order against me to start off with.
He just got out of prison.
I did fall into using drugs. My life spiraled downward faster than you can imagine.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martinelli is suing handyman Matthew Lewis for a refund of his fee, property damage, and lock change fees.
Order. All right. It's case number 176 on the calendar in the matter of Martinelli versus Lewis.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Martinelli, you hired the defendant to do some work in your house. According to what I read, you had seen him doing some work cleaning out the gutters in a neighbor's house. You liked the work that he was doing. You hired him to do the same work in your house because the quote that you had gotten was substantially higher to do the same work that Mr. Lewis said he would do for you for $60.
$60, yes, ma'am.
He did the work. You were satisfied with the work. You said you had another project for him to do in your house, and that was to replace a sink and vanity in your bathroom. And you made a price with him to do that work. The price was?
$100, Your Honor.
$100. And what was he supposed to do for the $100, Ms. Martinelli?
He said he would, the new one was in the garage. He would take out the old one and put the new one in.
And did that require any plumbing?
Yes. Well, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you going to hire another plumber to do that?
No, he said he could do it.
Well, that's fine. Well, that's quite a savings. So you see someone who is cleaning out gutters on a ladder. You like the work that they're doing, and you know how expensive it would be if you had to hire a plumber to come in to do that work. It probably would have cost you 5 or 6 times that.
Correct.
So you hired him for $100.
Yes.
And you didn't like the work. Okay, now you're suing him. And you're suing him for a whole bunch of things. You say, A, he broke the marble top, he dropped it and broke the marble top for the vanity, and he didn't finish the job, forcing you to hire someone else to come in and do the job.
Correct.
All I want to know is, tell me about the marble top. Did it come in a separate box?
It was one box, the vanity and the marble top, and I asked him, I have a dolly. You can use the dolly to carry it in, and he said, no, I can carry it in on my own. And he lugged it in and then dropped the box.
Okay. Now, Mr. Lewis, do you see what a fair person I am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fair. That is my middle name. Did you drop the box?
No, ma'am, I did not. As I was carrying the box, you could hear a piece jingling on the inside, and I said, that doesn't sound good. There was a piece rattling inside the box. When we opened the box, she was with me. We opened the box. There was a foam insert on each corner. There was a piece of foam insert that was not there. When we took it out of the box, it had a chip. She said, is it on the inside corner or outside corner?
She was there when you opened the box?
She was right next to me, in her living room.
Where had you purchased this from?
Home Depot.
How did you get it home?
That was transported in my daughter's car.
By whom?
My daughter and myself.
And was it in a crate?
It was in a big, heavy box, yes, ma'am.
How'd you open the box? Look at me.
Yes.
Did you see him drop the box?
No, I did not see him even open the box.
Did you see him drop the box?
No, ma'am.
So you don't know whether the marble top was cracked or not cracked before you brought it home?
It wasn't jingling. There was no noise in it.
I don't care.
Okay.
You didn't see him drop the box?
No.
Did he remove the old vanity?
Yes. I did see him put the box down on the floor like that.
Ms. Martinelli,
but not.
Well, now you're changing your story. So now I know that you're as sweet a lady as sweet a lady as you look. The first story that you gave me was not truthful. You're talking here about he dropped the box. You told him to use a dolly. He didn't use a dolly. He said, I can carry it. And then he dropped the top and it broke. Well, that's a lie. And if you lie to me, all you have to do is lie to me once. He says you were there when he opened the top.
When he put the box on the floor, he dropped the box.
No,
he opened it up.
That's not a drop.
And it was cracked.
Okay. So far, he owes you nothing. I'm going to repeat my question. Did he disassemble the old vanity and put it in your garage?
I had already left to go to Home Depot to get the replacement. Yes, he did, while I was gone.
The answer is yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when you came home?
When I came back, he was in the bathroom, and he had already taken out the old vanity, and, you know, it was a mess. And he carried in the other one, and me...
Just tell me what happened on that date. So you got it out of the car. Now, your daughter wasn't with you, so I assume...
She was there.
Oh, so who took the new top out of the car?
I don't recall if it was myself or all of us.
I took it out, Your Honor.
So he removed the vanity, the old one, disconnected it.
Right.
And took the new vanity and brought it into the house.
Correct.
Right now, he's earned his $100, as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's go. What's next?
So basically...
Not basically. I don't want to hear basically,
okay.
Miss Martinelli. I want to hear what's next. I want to hear why you think you have a claim against him.
Well, he was texting me. He would be...
Not texting you. I want to know what happened.
He didn't finish the job.
Just a second. Now, he's got the vanity inside in your bathroom. And what happened next?
He had emergencies. He said he had to leave to go pay someone he owed $100 to.
Fine. At what time was this?
This would be 7:26. He needed more...
No.
On 7:25?
7:25.
It would have been in the afternoon.
Well, you went back to Home Depot. That takes time.
Yes, ma'am.
He takes the thing out. You go to Home Depot. You come back. At what time did he say, I have to leave now? I brought it in to the bathroom. Now I have to leave. I have to go pay somebody money. I would like my $100, which you gave him. What?
Noon.
So later in the afternoon. Give me a time later. 4:30, 5 o'clock?
I'm not sure, ma'am.
What time?
She actually gave me the money. It was on the Sunday. The job was started on a Monday. The reason the job did not get complete, she told me that she was donating the old one, so don't break it. I took it out on a dolly, the bottom, put it in her garage, very neat, on a box off to the side. The reason the job didn't get complete, all that was left to be done was 2 pieces of trim.
I'm asking you a question. What time did you leave and say, I have to go?
Well, I didn't leave because of an emergency. She didn't have the plumbing fixtures to finish the job. She said she was going to pick those up either that night or tomorrow.
Okay, so you left because she didn't have the plumbing fixtures. Exactly what plumbing fixtures did she need, Mr.
When you
Lewis?
put the faucet in, the old one was one piece. It was soldered. They connect to the hot water underneath the sink and to the cold water. That's the only plumbing that you needed to do on this job. The new one had the top, but there were no connectors. The connectors that would run from the sink to the outlet in the wall.
You're shaking your head as if that is correct. So you did not have the required plumbing to complete the installation.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So he left.
Yes.
Now, in between that time, What did you do?
He sent me to Lowe's to get the piece of...
He didn't send you to Lowe's. How old are you?
Well, he said go to Lowe's down the street.
Just a second. He said you don't have the right fixtures, the same place you went. You can go to Lowe's. He doesn't care where you go. Either you go to Lowe's, you go to next.
He told me what to get. He explained what the piece of the pipe was.
All right, so keep going.
So I went back to the house, and I had the piece of the pipe, and then he called...
So you have the piece of the pipe.
Right.
So now he's waiting, according to you, he's waiting for you now twice because you didn't have things. You went back once to Home Depot and once to Lowe's to get the pipes.
Yes.
Okay, now, let me hear you.
So I waited for him. He said he couldn't do it the rest of the evening. It would be another day.
So he wasn't planning to work at night.
Right.
For the $100 that you were paying him. So he left.
Yes.
In the interim, what happened, Miss Martinelli? Now you have the pipe, and he's coming back. There's no question he was coming back, because even you don't deny he was coming back. In the interim, something happened. You want to tell me what it was, or you want me to surmise what it was? I suggest that you be truthful with me.
Absolutely.
Great. So far, you haven't been 100% truthful with me. I want you to tell me what happened between the time he left because you didn't have the right plumbing fixtures and the next couple of days. Well, let's have it.
The walls were all damaged and all the baseboards and everything was ripped out. And I got so many texts that he had all these multiple emergencies and couldn't come back to finish the job.
Just a second. I would like to see the days that he had multiple emergencies, that he couldn't come back and fix the job.
55 Verizon letters stating I have a basic phone that...
I'm not interested in this. I want to see exactly what it says.
I have a basic phone, so it doesn't allow me to do that on my phone. He just kept calling with one excuse after the other.
You want to tell me what this is all about? Because I'm not getting it from her. I'm not getting it from her at all.
The only thing that I have come up with, I was shocked that we were even here.
Just a second. Let's go back. When were you scheduled to go back to finish the job?
That was what was odd. I responded to her 3 times. We responded through text because she didn't answer the landline. Sometimes she'd be outside. She said texting is the best way to get in touch with me. I texted her 3 times saying I can be there tomorrow between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock.
Do you have that on your text?
I have Boost Mobile. They would not allow me to print it out. I don't save my texts. I do not have them. I had basically sent her 3 texts. I said, I'm getting ready to walk my dogs. If I don't answer or respond, I'll call you when I get back. I sent another text. I haven't heard from you. Nothing.
She had paid you the $100.
I had been paid.
Just a second. You had been paid?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't have any texts?
I have a basic phone. That's just the list of all the texts.
This doesn't help.
Inundated with texts.
Okay. Fine. So you paid him $100, and for the $100, this is what he did. He took out the old sink and the old vanity. He waited for you because it was broken. So you went to Home Depot. He came back. He took it out of the car, put the old vanity outside, and you didn't have the correct plumbing. You went back to Lowe's, whether it's that day or the next day. You may be confused. I'm not sure. According to you, you went back the same day to get the new plumbing, and he couldn't wait to work that evening. And then he never came back to finish the job. And since he never came back to finish the job, you're suing him for $1,049.
He called and said he needed more money.
Oh, now you have that. This is a new memory that you have.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me when you thought he was inappropriate, because you haven't mentioned that so far.
Well, he lifted his shirt to show her his gunshot wounds and made her feel very uncomfortable.
Good. So she's uncomfortable. And when did she tell you about that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martinelli says handyman Matthew Lewis owes for a refund of his fee, property damage, and locks. Matthew is countersuing for a false restraining order, lost wages, and harassment.
Oh, this is a new memory. So now he said, I want more money to come and finish the job.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said no.
Yes.
So?
I never heard back. He was
good. Then you hired somebody else. He said, I want more money. One thing is to take out a thing and put it in, and I can do that 1, 2, 3. You had a broken unit that he had to wait for until you went and got a new one. I assume they gave you a new one, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I assume they gave you a new one. You didn't tell them that your handyman dropped it. You said it was broken in the package. I assume that that's what you said to Home Depot, because if you didn't say that to Home Depot, they would not have replaced it for free. Right. So when you told me he dropped it and broke it, you told a different story to the Home Depot people. Right. With the same big eyes, the same look, right? Then he waited for you. You came back with it, and you put it in, and I said, where are the rest of the plumbing pieces? All this is for $100. Taking it in the car, taking it out of the car, storing it in the other garage. Now he says, this was supposed to be a one-day job. You want me to come back to finish this? It's going to cost you more money. You say no. Now I'd like to know what you're suing him for. So you hired somebody else to finish it.
He didn't do it correctly. He was damaged.
No, that's too bad. I don't see your expert here about all the damage.
So far.
I want you to tell me this other nonsense that I read in your complaint, that you, A, thought he was inappropriate with your daughter or granddaughter. Was it your daughter?
My daughter.
Your daughter, inappropriate. Tell me when you thought he was inappropriate, because you haven't mentioned that so far.
Well, he lifted his shirt to show her his gunshot wounds. And made her feel very uncomfortable.
Good.
From a
So
robbery.
so she's uncomfortable. And when did she tell you about that?
Lifted his shirt and showed me gunshot wounds.
Just a second. So, Mom, he lifted his shirt and showed me gunshot wounds.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you still wanted him to come back?
No, I went
you
on to Facebook.
Oh, good. And then you went on Facebook.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went on Facebook and did what?
I sent a notice out and said, has anyone ever done work for this Mr. Lewis? And I immediately got back 20, 30 hits, and they all said, buyer beware, he just got out of prison. And then they showed me what his charges were, and on and on.
And on and on. So I just
Yes.
still don't know why you're here.
Well, because the damage to repair the whole vanity and sink, he ripped out the whole wall, all my baseboard to fix it.
Miss, you have no
cost me
case.
$1,000.
I don't believe a word you're saying to me.
I have everything
I don't.
here.
No, you don't. You don't have the person who fixed it here.
I had 3 people fix it.
I don't care if you had 12 people fix it. What you tried to do was to get something for nothing. You tried to get a $600 or an $800 job for $100. That's what you did. My problem is with his counterclaim, which I'm going to hear, because your case is dismissed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The reason that I had lifted my shirt up, her daughter had showed me a big scar from surgery she had on her knee. I said, oh, well, I have one of those on my chest.
Did your daughter have a scar on her knee? Just make sure I get an answer from you that is believable.
Real people. Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martinelli has accused handyman Matthew Lewis of owing for a refund, property damage, and locks.
Now, what I want to know, Mr. Lewis, is you have a counterclaim. And your counterclaim is that she's spreading rumors around town, and these lies have a direct effect on my income. So there's no question that you're trying to work. I assume that it's true that you have history with the police of being incarcerated. I assume that that's all true.
Yes, it is.
When was the last time you were incarcerated?
I've spent 13 months in prison from April 2013 to 2014.
Since then?
I spent one night in for a probation violation because when I went to my probation...
Don't tell me why. You spent one night in for a probation violation since 2014. What else?
That's it. I did have a trouble past after my gunshot, and the reason that I had lifted my shirt up, her daughter had showed me a big scar from surgery she had on her knee. I said, oh, well, I have one of those on my chest. I was only shot once, and I did fall into using drugs, and I got in a lot of trouble. My life spiraled downward faster than you can imagine. I have a very bad reputation.
Did your daughter have a scar on her knee from a surgery?
I do not
I'm asking you a question.
No, there's no scar on her knee.
Did your daughter ever have surgery on her knee? Just make sure I get an answer from you that is believable. Did your daughter, asking you whether your daughter ever had surgery on her knee?
But there's no scar.
Show me your proof that she's been slandering you. Show me.
Well, she took out a restraining order against me to start off with. Then she had this posted here.
Can I see the restraining order?
And when I went to court for it, she didn't show up and got dismissed. Secondly, there was...
Just a second.
Okay. Yes, Your
I
Honor.
would like to see what allegations she's making with regard to the restraining order.
Oh, that's the 2 pages.
Just a second. This is outrageous. Why would anybody give you a temporary restraining order based upon this? Just a second. Well, let me see, because right now you can look at me with those big eyes all the time. Right now we've lied several times today. Miss Martinelli, let me tell you, he may be a convicted felon, but so far these are the following lies that you've told to me. A, you told me he dropped the box and it broke. He didn't drop the box. You never saw him drop the box. Then you went back to Home Depot and told them that it came cracked, and therefore they reissued you a new one because it was their fault. This man is not a mind reader. How would he know that your daughter had surgery on her knee unless she told him and showed him what she perceived to be a scar? Then you file a restraining order that I don't understand.
Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
The contact was, the following has been done to the plaintiff on more than one occasion. Defendant knocked on neighbor's door to clean gutters. Neighbor did not recognize him, allowed him to complete the task. Defendant approached plaintiff and asked if I had worked gutters, confirmed I did, and permitted him to complete the job. Asked defendant if he knew how to remove and install bathroom vanities, said he did. Had open container of alcohol in his hand at this point. Demanded cash up front, $100 to complete the job. Did a quarter of the work and called 7 times with excuses why he couldn't do the job. Wanted more money.
That's correct.
Actually, Miss Martinelli, you are outrageous. I'm so glad that they dismissed your application for a protective order against him. So thrilled that they did that. So he has 2 causes of action. Money owed for filing a false restraining order because he had to go to work. He had to leave whatever he was doing to go to court. Did you show up for the protective order?
They told me I did not need to.
Judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim for $800. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge
55 texts, I can't come, my dog threw up.
She posted all kinds of awful things about me, things of my past.
My grandma tripped. I mean, always had an excuse.
There's 10 customers that I had. None of them are even contacting me or will return my calls at this point.
And then the phone calls where he would call me, several cussing me out names.
And once that was all brought to my attention, it kind of infuriated me, and I said, look, it's time for me to do something about this.
Frightened me. The policeman came over and said, you need to file a restraining order immediately.
I did have a past, but it didn't have anything to do with her hiring me for the work, and it wasn't my fault that the job didn't get complete.
And also a small claims, which is exactly what I did. I followed the policeman's report.
It's a small town, and that's something that I am trying to overcome, so I go out of my way to try to help people.
I worry about other people he's going to take advantage of.
And do honest work for people, and that's what I was doing for her, and I feel that that came back to kind of bite me.
How much did you pay her in total?
$1,540.
This car seller couldn't wait anymore.
I gave her all day Saturday to come over to pay the last $60.
And then she repossessed the car?
Yes, ma'am. The final $60. Literally.
Now, the judge's patience is wearing thin.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
Your Honor, she told me she bought... Sorry.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lexus Scales is suing Charlotte Hammerschmidt for the return of money she paid for a car and punitive damages for repossessing it.
Order. All rise. Case number 231 on the calendar in the matter of Scales versus Hammerschmidt.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Hammerschmidt, you were selling a car.
Yes.
What kind of car were you selling?
2004 Saturn Iron.
When had you purchased it?
July 3rd, year 2015.
And who did you purchase it from?
5 Stars Auto Sale in Mount Zion, Illinois.
Whose car was it?
Mine.
Do you have proof of that in the title?
I don't have the title, and I don't have the registration.
Why not?
Because when I sold it to Lexi, I gave her the registration and the insurance, so I went with the car.
So she has the title?
No.
Where is the title?
I don't have it. I already gave it away. I gave the car away.
Who's that? Car July 3rd, 2015. And when did you put it up for sale?
February.
You bought the car for how much?
$34.
Did you and your boyfriend both drive the car?
No, I wasn't with him at the time.
What do you mean you weren't with him?
I wasn't with him when I bought the car, and he doesn't drive, so no, he does not drive.
Okay, so you bought it for $3,400 and you sold it to her for $1,600?
Yes.
Why?
Actually, the ad said $1,900, and when I met her, she, you know...
Yeah, it said $1,900, but why in a 6-month period of time were you taking such a loss on the car? I don't understand.
Because I didn't want the car.
Why?
I just didn't want it. It was bad memories. I wanted to get rid of it.
Well, explain to me, what is a car bad memories? Explain that to me.
I thought it was somebody that I thought I was to be with for the rest of my life, and it didn't work out, so I just wanted to get rid of all my memories.
You wanted to get rid of all your memories of him in the car?
Everything. In my house, my car, everything.
Your Honor, she told me she bought... Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm having too much joy here.
Okay. Sorry.
sorry.
What do you do for a living?
I'm disabled. I stay at home.
What's the nature of your disability?
Learning.
How long have you been on disability?
Since year 2012.
What did you do before?
Fast foods for a little bit.
And how much do you get from disability?
$734.
Where'd you get $3,400 to buy a car?
Pay here, buy here.
What does that mean?
You pay your payments at their car dealer.
Well, you didn't pay the car off in 6 months.
No.
That's for sure, that you didn't pay the car off for 6 months. So when you were selling Miss Scales the car, you hadn't paid it off.
Right.
Did
and
you?
she knew that.
Shh. Just a second. So I assume, based upon what you just said to me, you told her that you had not paid off the car.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did she tell you was due on the car?
She told me that the down payment that I was paying her of $1,000, she was going to pay the car off. And then after my final $600, she would then turn the title over.
So you gave her $1,000 down?
Yes, ma'am.
And she said, with that $1,000, she was going to pay the car off?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
What do you mean?
What do you do for a living?
Oh, right now, I don't work currently.
Who do you live with? What do
my
you do?
mom.
You live with your mother?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm studying for my CNA. And I also have a 2-year-old daughter that I take care of every day.
You sound like an intelligent young woman.
Thank you.
You met this woman. You know, I wouldn't buy a bridge from her.
Right.
So why didn't you say, with my $1,000 deposit, let me take the $1,000 and I'll go in and pay off the car?
We actually went up there with her.
You did?
She was planning on buying another car, and she showed us the car that she was planning on looking at and planning on purchasing, that she couldn't purchase that car.
Did you speak to anybody else other than her?
A man came out from the car dealership, and he was telling us about the car that we had purchased and then more about the car that she was looking at purchasing.
So now you spoke with him. So why didn't you say, I'm going to give her $1,000. Does that pay off my car?
I do not know.
You don't know? Okay, now, how much did you pay her in total for the car? You gave her $1,000.
$1,540.
And then she repossessed the car?
Yes, ma'am. The final $60, literally.
You have proof of all the payments?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Do you want the screenshots as well as the timeline? I have messages screenshotted from her.
Sure.
Confirming the payments.
Okay, now, Ms. Hammerschmidt, when you repossessed the car, on what date did you repossess the car?
Early in the morning, June 27th.
Who repossessed it?
I did.
Personally?
Yes.
Who drove it?
She drove it over to my house, and I told Larry Bartley to take off my license plates.
You told the boyfriend who doesn't drive?
Right, to take off my license plates because before all this, I gave her all day Saturday to come over to pay the last $60, and when I got home that night, there was no $60.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
No, that doesn't answer my question. First of all, nobody gives away, especially you, nobody gives away a car. So I would like you to tell me exactly what happened to the car and with whom does the car now reside?
Mooney got it. I gave
What?
it to him. Mooney. I gave him the car.
Just a second. Stand up. What's your last name?
Bartley.
Move over. Who's Mooney?
As my roommate.
Is your roommate?
Yeah.
And you're her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Where do you live? Do you all live together?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's.
one time we did.
I didn't ask you a question. So you live with Mr. Mooney and Miss Hammerschmidt.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do for a living?
Industrial construction worker.
Do you get paid in check or cash?
Check.
How long have you been working for the company whose name you'll give me?
About 2.5 months now.
Great. What's the name of the company?
High Tech.
Where are they located?
Decatur.
Decatur what, George?
Illinois.
Decatur, Illinois. Now, how long have you known Mr. Mooney?
About 20 years.
How long has Miss Hammerschmidt known Mr. Mooney?
I believe the same amount of time.
Well, how long have you been her boyfriend?
A year.
So you all knew each other before?
Yeah, from high school.
What is Mooney? $700 a month to live on. He's a construction worker.
Yeah.
I want you to convince me that she gave him the car.
Yeah.
Convince me. Convince me. Now, Mooney, you've known him 20 years, correct?
Yeah.
Correct? Give me his phone number. Cell phone.
I don't know his cell phone number. I have to get it.
You have to get it?
Yeah.
Oh, get it. Get it and just put the phone down. And Bert, while they're doing this extensive investigation, would you please look up this 2004 Saturn? Give me the number.
217-93.
Put the phone down. Put the phone down, I said. Turn it off. Now, if I call Mr. Mooney, is he going to tell me you gave him the car or sold him the car?
I gave him the car.
For how much?
For $0.
Is the title now in his name?
Yes.
And when did you do that? In what month?
July. I kept it for 15 days after I took it back.
Okay. Close the phone.
And later today,
You went
to Florissant, Missouri, about 30 minutes away.
to live with a boyfriend?
No, a friend.
To live with a boyfriend?
He was not a boyfriend.
Well, was he a boy?
Yes.
And was he a friend?
Yes.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lexus Scales says Charlotte Hammerschmidt illegally repossessed her car. Charlotte is countersuing for car damages and punitive damages for stress.
Thank you. Well, the very lucky Mr. Mooney has his answering machine on. He must be a very busy guy. Can you tell me what the blue book is on that car?
1550.
Well, he's not there, but I don't believe you anyway. Because if the value of the car is $1,550, you didn't give it to him. No way. Now, you put in 15.
No.
How long did you have the car?
I had the car for 5 months.
What?
When she bought the car, it was $1,600 originally, and she put $1,000 down, and the other $600 she was supposed to be paid off in May. 3 months, $200 a month.
But I have a
That's
text.
okay, just a second. All that was owing on the car was $60, which clearly, based upon these things, she wanted to give you. You didn't want it, you took back the car and gave it to Mr. Mooney. That's ridiculous. However, she drove the car for 5 months. And if I didn't think that you were a scam artist, I would actually take a lot more off. But I do think that you scammed her out of this money. Now, you drove the car for 5 months.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's some value to you in that. So I'm taking off $100 a month, which is really more than fair.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. You have some sort of ridiculous counterclaim. And since you get on with other people's money, I'm not even entertaining it. If the car was dirty, Mr. Mooney got himself a present of a dirty car. We're done. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Put up to pay her the final $60. She refused. Her and her husband were outside drinking.
She got stopped with my license plates and my insurance she already got.
I got out of the car to pay her.
Ticket in my car when I had insurance on it.
She had her husband like randomly just come into my car and start taking my license plates off.
You know, I could have gotten in trouble in my car.
$60 right here. She's like, no, you need to find another way to go. You need to find another way home.
I'm just glad it's done and over with.
I didn't know what to do. And I was just on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
What are you laughing about?
Very glad, and glad I get my money.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Green versus Love. Step forward.
21-year-old Mariah Green is suing her former roommate, Mark Love, for the value of dog grooming equipment and lost wages.
Miss Green, you rented a room or part of a house from the defendant, and you claim that he kept some of your equipment when you left this rental room that was in his house.
Yes.
You're suing him for almost $5,000, which includes the lost wages that you suffered as a result of him keeping your equipment. When did you move into his house?
I moved in April 22nd, 2016.
When did you move out?
I moved out July 6th, 2016.
So you lived there for less than a year?
Yes.
Did you have a rental agreement?
No, we did not. He insisted it wasn't necessary.
Just a second. Well, didn't you pay rent?
Yes, I paid $90 a week.
Just a second. Well, that's a rental agreement. Your rental agreement was, according to you, $90 a week. That's your rental agreement.
Right.
Okay. Did you pay your $90 a week in April?
Yes, when I moved in.
What about May?
Yes.
Every week in May? So
Every single week.
And
Yes.
why did you leave on July 6th?
I left because business was not panning out in the little rural town of Illinois, and also I felt very uncomfortable.
Just a second. So you left because business wasn't panning out?
Yeah.
So where did you go?
I went to Florissant, Missouri.
Where do you live?
I live right on the other side of St. Louis.
You live
Illinois.
you live in St. Louis, is that?
About 20 miles out, yes, ma'am.
And you went
To Florissant, Missouri, about 30 minutes away.
to live with whom?
To live with a former law enforcement, Jeff.
To live with a boyfriend?
No, a friend.
To live with a boyfriend?
He was not a boyfriend.
Well, was he a boy?
Yes.
And was he a friend?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You left this equipment in shed where you were supposed to do dog grooming.
Yes, he had the key, Your Honor.
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house was not, so she had no access to the shed.
Well, then how did Miss Green conduct her business?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Mariah Green says former roommate Mark Love owes for dog grooming equipment and lost wages.
Now, were you living in his house?
Yes.
Who else lived in the house?
Nobody, just me and him.
Just the two of you. And how big a house was it?
It's a one-story with a basement.
And
yes, I
his
own my
car.
car.
When you left, was Mr. Love at home?
No, but the majority of my...
Just a second. Mr. Love was not at home.
No.
And you left this equipment in shed where you were supposed to do dog grooming. Is that right?
Yes, he had the key, Your Honor.
Okay.
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house
What?
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house was not, because I was at work and she had the key. So she had no access to the shed.
So you think I should give her this money?
Absolutely not, Your Honor. She's not losing any work.
No, just a second.
Go on.
Just a second. I'm not talking about her losing any work. She had no lost wages because she said she moved out of your house because business wasn't going the way she wanted it to go.
She had a job.
I'm just curious as to why you volunteered the fact that the shed was locked.
I keep my shed locked because all my tools for work in there, my lawnmower's in there, everything else is in there. It's basically just a storage shed.
Well, then how did Miss Green conduct her business?
She did not. She never used it. The day that she moved in, I helped her move her stuff into the shed, and that stuff never moved the entire time she lived there, nor did she ever use it at all. She didn't need it for work whatsoever.
Well,
I was under the impression when I moved there...
I don't care what your impression was. You lived there for 3 months. Did you ever use the equipment?
He didn't set up the shed for me.
Oh. What I think, actually, I think that you have to take this back to Missouri.
I don't think so. I can show you.
Just a second.
Yes.
I'm not buying the story.
I can prove to you that I have lost wages.
I'm not buying the story. Do you understand?
Yes.
All I want to do is for you to produce bills for any equipment that was in the storage shed, paid bills for equipment that was in the storage shed, because Mr. Love says that he disposed of the equipment.
Yes.
That's correct.
Just a second. All I want to do is see paid bills for the equipment.
I bought the tub from a certified master groomer, and then
Just
there's
a
the
second.
receipt of my table.
Just a second. I want to see where you paid for any of this stuff.
I paid for the tub in cash, Your Honor, and then that is the Amazon receipt of my table.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What stuff did you get rid of? A table?
A table, a dog bath, just big equipment that was taking up too much stuff, and too much space in my shed. A shed that I have because she moved out without my knowledge.
Just a second.
Yep.
She said she bought it for $100. That's what she said she got it for. She got it for $100. Okay. You had no right to dispose of her stuff. Next. Did she pay her rent?
No, the last week she did not.
Which week did she not pay rent?
July 8th, I believe it was.
She said she moved out on the 6th or the 7th.
Right. She stayed that whole week, and she always paid me at the end of the week.
Wrong.
On Friday for the
Fine.
week that she stayed.
She moved out on the 6th of July.
She moved out on the 8th of July. Well, she moved out on the 6th. The 8th is when she owed me her rent, her final week's rent. And when she didn't pay it, that's when I didn't unlock the shed to get her stuff back.
You have to pay her $100, sir, for the stuff that she says she paid $100 for, even though the new condition is $479. I don't know if I believe any of this, but $100 is nuisance value. You can't dispose of her property. You can't dispose of her property.
Well, what if she owes me rent?
And the table?
Just $100. Sir, if she owes you rent, you sue her. If she, listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You said in your papers that she didn't pay you the rent, so you wouldn't give her stuff, and you disposed of it.
I asked her to come get her stuff, and all she had to do was pay me the $90. I would have happily unlocked the shed to get her
That's my
stuff.
judgment, $100 for the plaintiff. Your counterclaims to sue.
Wait, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
How much did you owe him?
He told me $20. He got upset that I wasn't giving it to him on the spot. He came out of the door with a bamboo stick, and I reached into my closet in self-defense to grab my bat.
Judge Judy.
The line got crossed when she started texting other guys and
He's obsessed with me.
bringing them over to my house, the house that I was nice enough to lend her, you know, a whole room to.
He's obsessed with me. He was trying to get me to stay there. He locked it in there, would not release my stuff to me.
And then she up and moved out, so I never even saw it coming, kind of got blindsided.
Like a month in, where he started drunk texting me, he loved me and was obsessed with me.
I'm about the fourth single guy that she's moved in with. She's basically a con artist.
And I told him I was uncomfortable. I said, please keep it strictly platonic. Please be just a normal, like, landlord.
She does this to guys. She moves in with them. She finds them off Craigslist. She dates them for a little while.
And he didn't. And then he started sabotaging my relationships with other men on my phone.
And then she up and leaves and expects to get